I am Michael Donahue, and I'm here today with...
Scott Lyus.
We're going to discuss his short films, sort of cinema in general. It's going to be a real back and forth all over the place conversation, but I'll try to make as much sense of it for everybody as I can. If you get a chance to check out his films, you must. They're very entertaining. They're gorgeous. And he manages to get emotion out of actors that is someone like myself really gets going for. Why don't you go ahead and give everybody your social media handles?
Thank you. That was really kind of you, actually. That was really nice. Yeah, so the main one that I use all the time is Twitter. So it's just at Scott Lyus, and that is Lyus, my surname. I'm also on Instagram, just again, Scott Lyus. And then if you want to see like older stuff, my older short films, plus trailers for like the new stuff, that is youtube.com/crossroad pictures. And that's basically it. I don't have Facebook. I'm one of them. I'm one of them people. I don't like Facebook.
Dude. I haven't logged in like 2 years.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
How you doing, buddy? You alright? I don't have a camera, so this will just be audio on my side.
That's totally fine. I always just record audio, and it's like, I think the last time I did this, they were expecting me to record video. I was like, you guys didn't have to like put makeup on and stuff. Like, you see me in sweatpants, right?
Of course. Really like the t-shirt. Cool bloody t-shirt, man.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I had never gotten to go to Universal Studios for Halloween Horror Nights, even though I've lived out here for like almost 20 years. But thanks to a buddy of mine, I got to go twice this year, and this was by far the best maze.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm hoping that if I come out again at the end of this year with Black Mass, that I can go, because they're doing the Universal Monsters thing this year.
They had a variation of Universal Monsters last year.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, cool, man. What's like the last thing that you saw?
In general, or like new releases?
I'm good with both. Let's go with both. Start with new, and we'll go general.
Okay. Well, what was the last thing I saw at the cinema? I'll think about it. But last night I watched for like the 100th time Nightmare on Elm Street.
The first?
Yeah, the first one, yeah. So, like, I just love that film. Yeah, I don't know, I was just kind of looking for a horror to throw on, and I thought, you know what, let's throw that one on. Absolute classic.
I went out of my way to get this one.
Wow, there you go. Yeah.
I had to get this one because it came with, do you know about this? Like,
No.
Okay, so this disc, we're looking at the Nightmare Series Encyclopedia. It's a game, it's a maze. Like you're in an asylum and you have to walk through the halls with your remote. And you enter rooms, and you either get a cool special feature or you get murdered.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
For me, the franchise is 1, 3, and 7. And, like, people want to fight me, but whatever. For me, the franchise is 1, 3, and 7.
No, I'm with you. I have to, I'm a sucker for if I do a marathon, I've got to kind of, like, watch the whole thing, right? So,
yeah.
Like, number 2 is painful. It is not good. That's like, the more I like go back and watch number 2, I'm like, oh man, like.
It has one of the coolest sequences in the franchise, that pool sequence.
Okay.
But overall, it's not my favorite.
Overall, it's just, do you know what? Like, they lent way too much into the comedy.
Okay, yeah. See,
that's what. Yeah.
You want to know what's really unfortunate? The first one I saw was 5.
Oh.
I was turned off the whole franchise for a while.
Yeah. Where they try explaining like everything, you know.
Yeah, I mean it had some,
really, like,
it's got really cool effects, like when everybody's popping off of Freddy's back. But like, dude.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but the whole thing about like his mum, yeah, and all that kind of, like, I don't know. We didn't need that, you know. We didn't need like the justification or why.
No.
You know, complete fucking arsehole. But
that's why, like I thought, like with the reboot, like I thought they had good intentions. It just came out poorly.
Yeah, they did have good intentions, and you know what? Like, I actually don't mind. What's the dude's name that played Freddy? Is it
Jackie or Haley? No, like when they announced him, I was real excited, and like
yeah, same.
I thought he was actually a good Freddy. Like people want to fight me on it, whatever. I thought he was a good Freddy. Because I still say when he's got his claws in the fucking person who's hanging upside down, and he's just like, we get to play for 8 more minutes. That whole thing is like one of the creepy, like the delivery just
Yeah, like he's not bad. I think like the big mistake with that film was almost the design of Freddy. Like I actually think I think producers have gone on record and said like they lent very, very heavily on real life burn victims.
Right. Oh, you could tell too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It really made him a lot more tragic than he needed to be.
Yeah.
Like it's just a slasher film, right? So like he's
there's that, and then like you can't really be sympathetic to someone who does the vile things.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I find the Devil's Rejects so brilliant, because who but Rob Zombie can make you sympathize for those humans.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. In the case of Devil's Rejects, it's more, I don't think he even tries. I think it's just like, I'm going to present these cool fucking characters. You're probably going to like them because like they're fucking weird and they're outcasts, and you know they're kind of like just this summary of fucking horror, you know, between Spalding and Otis and Baby. They're just every horror fucking icon coming together.
Yeah, man, and like talking of fucking that, man, like Free From Hell this year.
I know, right? Like when he first announced it, I'm not gonna lie, like in the back of my brain, I went, "Why, bro? Because the end is so perfect."
Yeah,
and like, I understand we don't see them die, but come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on, like how do they not die, right? Like, and that's gonna be a good right? They fucking died. They died. There's no way they didn't die. You don't take that many fucking bullets. Like, they literally, the whole fucking sheriff's department, gunfire, raining down on.
And they've all got rifles. Like, it was a brilliant, in the slow motion and just the use of the music. Perfect.
You know, that's going to be interesting. How's Rob bringing them back? Where does that story go?
Exactly. Is it a prequel, or are they superheroes somehow?
Apparently it literally takes place moments after the Devil's Rejects. It picks up. Like, I think he come out the other day and said he done a like a Q&A somewhere, and he answered a couple of questions, and one of them was like, when does it take place? And he's like, straight after the Devil's Rejects. So that's gonna, but I think there might be like a little hint in the title, like Free From Hell. I think it is like these dudes fucking died, but like they come back, right? You can't exactly.
Or if it's all just some sort of weird fever dream thing, because then just damage we can start to get. Because like did you see 31?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay, I went to one of the in cinema screenings around here.
Right.
And so is it Richard Drake? Is that his name?
Yes, I think so. Richard Drake. Yeah, it sounds
like the Night King, and he's also Like, I think the first time I noticed that dude was he's in Hannibal Rising, right? He's the guy that gets like choked out on the tree.
Is he?
Yeah,
I've seen Hannibal Rising, but I mean,
because his face is burned into my brain, because like the effect that they got going on is like as he's getting choked, like his teeth like come out of his mouth a little bit. It's the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that guy. Like, I haven't seen 31. Not 31. Sorry, I haven't seen Hannibal Rising.
Oh, okay.
Like, I weren't actually a massive fan of it, so I think I saw it that once, and then like
I about the same. Like, but I was really taken with the imagery and like his performance and Like it was one of those, like, it was a really good looking film, and like everybody is there and doing their jobs. It just came together a little bizarre to me.
Yeah, I mean the problem is you have Silence of the Lambs, right, to live up to.
Right.
You ain't doing it. Like anything tied to Silence of the Lambs, it's not like, it's just, that is a perfect film. It's perfect. It is just absolutely perfect. So it's not, like,
I can't think of anything that's wasted there. And like no. I understand like some people want to have discussions about the implications of certain characters, but like as a film,
oh yeah, like it's you don't. It's an absolute masterpiece, It really is.
Do you know what I'm talking about though? Like, I listen to Infinity podcasts. You know what I mean? I'm all over the place. Yeah. And one of the ones I was listening to recently was an LGBTQ plus podcast, and they were specifically speaking about how the trans culture was really impacted by the film
because of Buffalo Bill.
Because of Bill, yeah. And it's like I had never considered that as who I am, and just hearing it, I was like, oh shit, I can't even imagine. But like, still, the movie though, like,
I completely see that. It's one of them things where it's like I get asked all the time about commentary on race in films, sex in films, and stuff like that. And like, my take on it is always like, I'm a white straight man. It's not my place to comment on. Like, I think that's where like that's where a lot of people fall down. Right? It's like you can't come at this shit, especially as a white straight man, and be like, here's my fucking opinion on it, and this is why I'm right. Because, like, guess what? You're not, because you're only seeing it from like, right, and you're only seeing it from a side that has been like fucking, like we've been given everything, right? We've been like, the whole fucking world is like almost like dictated to us, right? We haven't had the hardships other people have. So like for me to comment on that stuff would be wrong, because then like I would rather give that voice and give that opinion to someone that is affected, right? And someone that, so like for me to go like, yeah, I love that film, which I do, like I fucking worship that film, but for me to like just dismiss what it done for like the trans culture,
exactly
and stuff like that, like that would be so fucking wrong to me to do, because like it never impacted me in that way. It never impacted like my life in that way. So the only people in my mind that warrant that voice are people that it impacted, and then like we can listen to them, we can discuss it with them, and you can see where it goes with that. But I get what they're saying. Like I get what they're saying, because I have heard the argument, right? And I've heard the argument on both sides of the fence. Okay. And you always get the argument of it impacted the trans community this way because, and then you also get the idea of like, well, he's a killer, and you know, there's plenty of killers in films that are white, and you know, are we saying that affects white people and stuff like that? But it doesn't. But the other side of it is with the trans community in films, especially, and I know this was only like 90.
It's like 91 or 2, right?
91, I want to say it is. How many other trans characters are in films, right? So like, if the world's only fucking view of a trans character is this fucking serial killer, then yeah, like they're gonna think it's fucking, you know, this unnatural weird thing, especially like when you're battling the whole fucking idea of, you know, the religious context of like what fucking men and women should be and all that fucking bullshit I don't buy into. But yeah, exactly, right?
So I was raised very, very Catholic, sir.
Yeah, I mean, a whole division of my family are Catholic, and it's this constant thing where I'm like, look, and again, like my kind of outlook on it is the same. Look, I ain't gonna like completely shit on you like for what you believe in until you're not to believe in stuff. But like when that transitions over to you telling other people how they should live their lives, you telling other people what's right and wrong, you telling other people they're no good, and that, you know, this whole fucking concept of you're going to hell without, like, come on, man, like that's, yeah, like what's that, you know? But yeah, but like bringing it back around to the Buffalo Bill thing, right? So if your only mainstream view of a trans person, so a guy that's dressing up as a woman, so you know that can impact on drag queens and you know anyone in that vein. If that's your only view of it, that's why they're fucking pissed off, right? Because they haven't got the other side where it's like, yeah, there's also this great fucking, you know, this is why we're so good. So like when people make the argument of like, well, you know, when this person's in a film and they're a killer, it doesn't impact on this. Yeah, but you've also got the other side where the fucking police officers are like white dudes doing fucking great stuff, right? So like you don't have that same argument because you're not singling out one thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a
No, I totally get what you're saying, man. It's one of those like slippery slope situations to discuss at all, but at the same time, to not have any kind of a discussion is wrong-headed in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there has to be a discussion, and there also I think there does have to be a discussion on both sides. You have to open that stuff up to other sides. Like like last year I was invited to do like a panel talk on filmmaking. It's kind of like it was like a convention, but they wanted to be all inclusive, bring everyone in. Everyone was welcome, right? It was a place where you go, you feel good, everyone's welcome. And like I love that idea, right? When I get invited, go to the convention and do it, I was like, yeah, like I love that. I love that idea of this all inclusive space where you can just go be your fucking self and have a good time, right? But then when I was there, I was on the panel and I was talking just like I am now. And as you know, when you met me a few years back at Shriekfest and also on this podcast right now, when I talk, I swear, right? I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't mean it in an offensive way. Just where I grew up, like many people of our generation, swearing just become part of the way you spoke, right? You don't, and also like if I want to be offensive to someone, if I want to insult someone, I don't actually need to swear to do that. So for me, swearing was like it wasn't offensive to me, right? So that's just why I brought up. So when I was on this panel, and so, you know, people were asking me questions, and the first question I got asked, I answered, and I started speaking, And then I got told off by the moderators of the panel because I swore. And I was like, I on my life, I thought they were joking. And I was like, oh, you're joking, right? Like, and I was like, no, sorry. Like, one of our rules is that you can't swear because it may offend people, and we don't want to offend people. And why I kind of get that, my argument then on the other side was the problem with trying to be all inclusive, but then also setting rules so people don't get offended, is them rules are also going to offend people, right? Because or not so much offend people, but make people feel uncomfortable, right? Where like me and a few other people there that, again, just swear when you're talking, and it, like, I, don't buy into this concept of like you're a lesser person because you swear when you talk, or you're less intelligent and any of the right. No, I don't buy into any of that. So like this idea that now every question I was asked, I had to like carefully watch what I was saying so I didn't swear. So like straight away, because you're doing this all inclusive thing where then you set your own rules of we don't want to offend people. Well, now you've made other people feel uncomfortable because they can't be themselves. And it was just this really like strange thing that
we don't want to be uncomfortable.
Right. That stood out where it was like, I really wanted to go and do this convention and speak at this convention because I thought it was this great idea that it was all inclusive. It was a place where you could go, just be yourself, just, it weren't even going to be discussed. It's like you're there, you're who you are, feel bloody comfortable in your own skin and be who you are. And then like I come away feeling fucking uncomfortable about who I am. So it's like, it's this amazing fucking thing where I'm like, oh, right. So actually what you're trying to do is you're saying certain things are okay in our world, but certain things are not. And I think that's where so many people butt heads, because it's like, what you believe in is wrong, and then other people are like, no, what you fucking believe in is wrong, and it like you're just butting heads, right? And like and it comes back to what you said, right? You need to have a conversation about it. You need to have a dialogue, because if we're not talking about on both sides, like, there's no winners, there's no winners. We're just going to argue about it.
Are you a South Park fan?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know that their thoughts on offense is like either everything is okay or nothing is okay?
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah,
and I agree. I'm a very strong believer in that, because once you start putting rules into place of this is offensive, that's not offensive, like straight away you're drawing a line in the sand, man, and you're saying, it's censorship, right? It's censorship to the point of view where you're telling people what they can and can't do. And the other, like, there's certain things, right? There's certain words out there that have really, really bad meaning behind them, right? And I'm not like, I would never, ever take away from them words. There's certain words you should never, ever, ever say to people of a certain race, people of certain religions, stuff like that, right? There's certain words you should never do. Reason is because them words were created and come out of this idea where they were purely fucking created to be used as an offensive term, right? They were
created for hatred.
For hatred. They were created, right? So like, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, that shit like should never be fucking used. There's no fucking excuse to that. 100%. But then, we're like coming back to this thing that, where we're all bloody banned from swearing. Like you're going a little bit farther. But like, yeah, like your South Park point, yeah, man, like I completely agree with a lot of that, especially where comedy's involved.
Yeah.
Like, because comedy should be, and like most media, it should just be this open playing field of, of expression, stuff like that. And again, like, don't like go down the road of using language that was purely created for fucking hatred. Like, that's not right. Like, don't do that stuff. In South Park, they don't do that stuff. Like, you don't see them using certain words that come with that history. But with regard to what they do practice, yeah, I'm fully on board with that. Definitely.
Except that actually my girlfriend is black. One of her favorite absolute South Parks is the one where it bridges where like all the Richards come to town.
Oh yeah. The Will Smith where they're all moving in. Yeah.
And the way that episode, do you remember how that episode ends?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, that is one of her favorite punchlines in the entire series.
Well, yeah, of course, because it's like it is played on the idea of how ridiculous it is as well, right?
Right.
And
exactly.
It's played up because that punchline doesn't work without the stuff that comes like directly before it, right? Exactly. Where it's just like, oh, like, we got rid of them because they're rich and stuff, right? And it's like, oh, that was but it's also this great commentary on how fucking stupid it is just to like hate on people because in that episode they're of a different class to you, right? So it's like, oh, these people are rich, like, so fuck them, they're completely different to us, we hate them. And then like that line at the end just brings it back to reality, and what they're saying is like, don't forget the joke we're actually trying to make. It is fucking ridiculous to judge people on the color of their skin. Like that's what that line meant, you know. But and again, like you got to see that stuff, and that's the fucking genius behind it, to be honest.
No, those guys are next level. Like, I mean, have you seen Cannibal the Musical?
Yeah.
Bro, I have a Spadwinkle shirt. A couple years ago, I was at a convention and I had a rather lengthy conversation with Dean Bakar.
Oh yeah.
And then the next year he was there, and like I got.
Oh, cool, man.
And like I don't even have a PSP, but like I have Cannibal on that UMD format. And
yeah.
Like yeah. It's good times, man.
Yeah, they're fucking geniuses, man. Everything they do,
cool,
they're
man.
just like, they just know what they're doing, you know. They're
Absolutely.
just, they've really got a great grasp.
And then the whole like, did you see 6 Days to Air?
No.
Oh.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's on Netflix over here. I don't know if it's on Netflix over there. It's a documentary about how they make the show, and it specifically chronicles the 6 days where they made the Human Centipede episode.
Yeah.
And
no, I don't think that's on Netflix over here.
Oh man! Oh, you gotta find it.
I'll try and find it.
You gotta find it.
Yeah, I'll try and find it, man.
The reason the show is able to be as relevant as it is because it's literally written, voiced, and animated in 6 days.
Oh yeah, they've always said that, haven't they? It's the turnaround. Because like when they set out, they was like, we can't be the Simpsons, right, where we take 6 months to make an episode. Like we've got to, and yeah, like you said, it's that whole, because their whole thing is being relevant. So like you have to get that stuff turned around and I mean, it's amazing, like unbelievable. Like 6 days to turn around an episode. It's crazy.
And they're always like, even like the unfunniest South Park still has a few giggles. Like,
oh, they're all like, yeah, they've all got something.
Yeah.
You know, they've all got something. Yeah, definitely.
It's a good size, man. Well, clearly, you and I are very similar in that we can go on and on and on and on. So we're gonna have to do this like a bunch of times.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Even if we can't talk about it today, at some point, I've always been fascinated by the video nasties, as I'm certain you must have been.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was my growing up, right? Like that's what got me into film.
So how did you first see Evil Dead?
Right. So like I didn't grow up. I was born in '88. Right. Okay. So I was born at like the back end of when all this shit was getting banned and stuff like that. Right. But then when you're growing up, like you would discover a lot of these films and not even so much the more well-known stuff like Evil Dead and stuff like that. Like a lot of the like Italian horror and stuff like that. You know, you would just like,
all those were on that list. Like, I don't know about the entire list. I just like, I read way long time ago. I read probably a chapter worth of a book on it and it was just like, oh my God, I need to know more. And I just
I mean, like anything that was about like cannibals.
Okay.
Like holy fuck, like all that shit was banned, like Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
Like all that, man. That was done. Like, but them, right? So you would like discover them because someone's fucking dad would have like this VHS shitty, dodgy copy of this film that would be like handed around the fucking playground. You know, and eventually like someone would be caught with it, right? And it would be like the end of the fucking world because these kids
we need that.
Right, yeah, exactly, right. But then, like, as I was about, like, 12, 13, something like that, I had a friend who lived around the corner from me, and his dad was the biggest fucking, like, VHS collector. Like, and then, like, at that time, like, transitioning into, like, early DVDs, right? But he had this kind of cupboard, which should have been, like, a side cupboard in his house where, like, you could, I don't know, store, like, fucking canned food and stuff like that. But he was like, no. He was like, these shelves are going to be full of VHS, right? So like every Saturday and Sunday, me and my friend Daniel, we would just go in to this fucking cupboard. We would pull out all different VHSs. We'd sit in front of this tiny fucking box screen TV. We're like, oh my God, look at this fucking TV. Like, I can't believe we're watching this stuff on this 15-inch TV. Yeah, exactly, right. But
that's how I felt the first time. Just a little aside. Like the first time I saw 2001, Don't Hate Me, I didn't like it. because I watched it on a shitty old cathode ray tube.
Yeah.
One of my first DVDs, and I was like, "What is this?"
How old was you?
16-ish, 15,
Right.
16.
See, this is the thing, right? So like, there's a few films I watched when I was like in my teens, and I was nowhere close to having the intelligence I needed to fully understand what these films were doing. So, like, when I was a teenager, I was just fucking full of shit, man. I was full of shit. So like, when I like, even when I like got to like 17, 18, right, I was in college, I was doing filmmaking and photography, and just like any 18-year-old that like gets into film, you're just so fucking full of yourself, like with the films you're in. You're just like, oh yeah, like, to the point a dude who was in my class introduced me to Kevin Smith films.
Okay.
Right, before I say what I'm about to say, I love Kevin Smith. I adore Kevin Smith. And
Dude, we need to have that conversation. I spent $400 on Red State, okay?
right, there you go, right? When I first was introduced to Kevin Smith, man, I thought it was trash.
But what was the film?
Well, here's the thing. This guy did not fucking do him justice. He introduced me with the first Jay and Silent Bob film.
Oh, that's so rude.
Right. I didn't even go in with fucking Clerks or Clerks.
Oh my god.
Chasing Amy or anything. Right. I went in.
My entry was Dogma.
Right.
So.
Right. So it's a different story. So I went in with Jay and Silent Bob, and I was like, this is just shit.
It's a cartoon that references itself, and you don't get it.
Right. And the other thing is, I didn't really get the reference because I didn't have this fucking build up of these guys in this universe for fucking 10 years, right? So yeah, I was like, this is just shit. And I just weren't. And then it weren't until I started watching An Evening with Kevin Smith. Yeah, and the way he would talk about stuff, and oh man, like I ate that shit up. I love that. Going off that, I went and watched Clerks and Chasing Amy, Dogma, and it just, I love the dude now. And even to the point where like Red State, yeah man, I fucking love Red State.
Dude, I saw it 3 times theatrically. Okay, 3.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah, I
that
love
movie.
You know what, man? I even like Tusk.
Yeah, no, I quite like Tusk. I got to go to the LA premiere. And then I paid to see it. Yeah. It's that movie's like special because I gotta be honest, like, so when I was at the premiere, I remembered the podcast where he laid out what he was gonna do, sitting there, and then the actual movie we got was so genuinely creepy and deeply affecting. I love horror to death, but I don't know about you personally. There's like, I could, if movies that scared me, Carrie, The Witch. Like, I love horror, but it doesn't get me.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
And there's a couple of like when he pulls Tusk into the water, bro, I was not okay with that.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't get. I know it's weird. Like my outlook on horror, ever since I started watching it, didn't like scare me in a way it like scares other people, and I think this is why I don't really like jump scares. Stuff like, I don't really think they're effective unless you're doing quite well. Like, I think James Wan does them quite well because they always mean something. Like, if the jump scare is someone's friend jumping out on them, it's a wasted scare, right? Because you're not meant to be scared by that shit. But if the jump scare is like, oh man, what fucking film is it? The Conjuring with where she's like in the fucking pitch black with like the lighter, and then the hands come behind her and like clap.
That might have scared me if I hadn't seen it in every trailer.
Yeah, that's okay. That is a fucking trailer.
Like, I'm not trying to.
We got a big trailer problem. Anyway.
Okay,
but just that was like, that's a fucking jump scare. Like, that's a good fucking jump scare, right? Because it's the character is like shitting themselves in that moment too, right? So
okay, yeah.
So it makes sense to do that to yours. Another like, and I tell you again, right? Like, jump scares don't get me too much, but I'd be lying if I said they never got me. Do you know the one jump scare that got me more than fucking anything, right? Paranormal Activity 3, the kitchen. I've only seen the first one. Oh man, right? I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say Paranormal Activity 3, the kitchen scene. That's all I'm gonna say, right? And I watched it in like a packed theater. The fucking roof come off that. Some people think like, oh, it could be a cheap jump scare. To me, it meant a little something because it really dived into like the anxiety of the character in a way like she is just fucking crumbling under this. It's probably a
so
bit
like the first Paranormal Activity. Like when I talk about jump scares, because typically they don't get me either.
Yeah.
The end of the first Paranormal Activity is probably the most effective one for me because I truly didn't care about the first 2 acts of this movie at all. I didn't like them. I didn't like the presentation. It was a personal thing. And like I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, no, like I get it. I just whatever. But then the 3rd act starts and I'm like, oh wait, what? This is where we've been going? Or is this the same movie?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And like if I hadn't been sitting in the back of my chair, I would have just flown into the back of the thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And similarly, did you ever see The Unborn?
Yeah. That's
Okay. Like that's like one of like what I feel is like PG-13 horror done right. Like that was done right. I felt Escape Room was done right. But like the jumbie out of the mirror thing, I just similarly, I was just chilling and all of a sudden like all my muscles were like behind me.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
and then
there are some
year
good
at Shriek Fest there was a picture. It was called Echoes of Fear, and that had 2 jump scares that got me.
Oh, okay. Was it a feature or?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. I always love when like people I share very similar tastes with, such as yourself, recommend something I haven't even heard of. You know?
Okay,
like
so
that's my favorite type of fucking horror to go into, right? Because the problem is like I'm so fucking obsessed with the genre, and I'm so obsessed with film. Right, in general, there isn't like much stuff. I don't really go into much anymore, if anything, without already some built-in expectation of what,
or knowledge
like,
of the thing.
right? Yeah. Like I've got like question on podcasts before where like it's like, oh, what film did you see recently that really disappointed you? And the truth is, I don't go to the cinema and watch films that disappoint me because I already know. But like one, I can tell by the trailer. If something's like just getting like shit online and stuff like that, there's like people, and I'm not just talking like just the social media thing, but if people I know that I respect and just not even critics, but like friends and stuff like that, and like they didn't get it, they didn't like it, I don't tend to go and watch that stuff. So I do see some stuff I get disappointed with. Not really in horror.
Did you see Brightburn? Did you guys get Brightburn?
We have, but I haven't seen it yet. We just got it. Like, we literally just got it.
The single most brutal image I may have ever seen in an American movie.
Really? Wow, okay.
Look at his face.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
I don't know if I've mentioned this. I'm red colorblind. Even being red colorblind, I was still vocal and like, oh.
Okay.
Like, it's a slow burn of a movie. If you've seen one trailer, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah. But I'm good with it.
It's like a buddy of mine who actually works at the company that owns the Halloween franchise. He didn't really care for the movie because he felt they only made it so they could do this thing and one other thing.
Oh, okay.
Dude, it's like the only movie that ever made me feel like how normal people describe watching a horror movie makes them feel was Cannibal Holocaust. I was just unsettled to a degree that I can't describe. I'll watch it again eventually.
Were they like of the whole thing, or what really like threw you off? Just the whole film, or was there like 1 or 2 scenes that really stuck out?
Like you and I in films, like for me, the greatest era of cinema is that 70s era, and it has a lot to do with look, performance, and everything that was just sort of like coming into its own and becoming a new thing and more. Anyway,
yeah,
that's
completely
a conversation for a different time. But the look of 70s cinema is something that really gets me. And so the fact that it was sort of like this melding of what you would now call found footage, like a real sort of look, we found these tapes. What are we gonna do with this? And then we watched this shit, and it was like everybody on screen was deplorable. Like even the woman was implicit in, even though she didn't like participate in it, she was implicit in the rape because she didn't say anything. So by the time that it gets to the imagery that got it banned everywhere, it was like, I was like, it wasn't as effective as maybe as it could have been to me, because I was like, oh, you deserve this. I'm okay with, like, have you seen Cannibal Ferox?
Yeah.
Cannibal Ferox, to me at least, has like a Green Inferno sense of fun. But Green Inferno is like another conversation, because like that was like great and then weird.
Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of it. I actually thought I was gonna fucking love that, and I didn't.
Did too, and I did for like the first 2 acts, and then I was confused. But so like the whole thing was, it felt so real that it was like I understand that it was cartoonish in like some of its over the top white people going and doing white people shit. But at the same time, like I can watch people be dismembered in cinema all day long because I know it's fucking fake. Like I've seen Flower of Flesh and Blood. Have you seen Flower of Flesh and Blood?
Yeah.
Dude, like it looks like Jello, but if I see 19th generation VHS copy, like maybe it would look real, you know what I mean? The animal violence, oh fuck, right off.
Oh, is it Holocaust where they killed
going back to Holocaust, that's what I was,
Is it where they killed a turtle?
A turtle and something.
Because the turtle was real, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like I understand that they ate turtle soup that night. So like they didn't waste the animal.
Yeah, but the word was
like,
bro, the one that gets me, and it's weird, right? Because like when I was like younger and I decided I wanted to be a filmmaker, I was going down two avenues, right? One was directing, the other one like creature design, and stuff, and horror makeup. And when I first saw it is Holocaust, right? Where you've got the girl on the spike on the beach. That didn't freak me out because again, what you said, like films are not real, right? They're fake. So I'm fucking looking at it. It didn't freak me out. How the fuck they do that?
Right, yeah.
Like, how did they actually fucking do it? Didn't the director, like, when he come back to America, he got, like, taken to court and he had to prove they didn't, like, kill people and stuff like Yeah,
it was a big deal.
People thought it was, like, it was 100% real. It's crazy.
I mean, it was Flower of Flesh and Blood where, like, they didn't even believe it when they produced the actors. They had to produce making of footage before they believe it was fake.
Yeah. I know. And then that stuff is taken to a whole new level, like in the 90s with Blair Witch, where they pay the actors to go and disappear.
I get you.
Yeah. Where they make the Blair Witch in there, and then they were like, right, so no fucking press tour, no, like you guys are fucking dead for the next 6 months. Like I love that idea. Really hammer it home. And didn't they? I'm pretty sure they changed their IMDb's and their thing as well to say they were deceased.
I believe you.
I'm pretty sure when the film come out, if you went on the actors' IMDb's, it said like they had died that year that it come out. Oh, it's crazy, man.
Ridiculous.
Like what great marketing. Possibly the best. I can't really think of any marketing that's better than the Blair Witch. That is something you just look at.
Nothing quite. They've tried a few times. I know there was a bunch of Matrix crazy coolness and like the Matrix is its own discussion.
Yeah. The Dark Knight done some really cool.
There was it Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises where it was like the social media campaign that like so many people had to like go to the website for it to like reveal pixel by pixel.
Well, it was I think they done it with both. They first done it for the first ever photo reveal of Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yeah,
I can't remember what you had to do. It might have been that one, or it might have been on Dark Knight Rises, a game that was played around the world where you had to go to like different cities, find an Easter egg, upload that photo. Do you know what I mean? And then like it would reveal, Unreal, man. It's like that's fucking unbelievable marketing. Yeah, I'm all about that stuff.
Cool. I definitely want to discuss the two shorts you've already done, and then as much as you're willing to tell me about your new one.
Yeah.
And then after we've done that, I'm willing to go deep on Rocket Man, but I wanted to see it again before we talked about it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because I really loved the movie. I just didn't know that it was going to be so depressing. It was really difficult for me to decompress how I felt about the filmmaking when I was left like a wet noodle, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
okay,
but like the more I think about it, is like I've never seen such a brilliant, gorgeous love letter to both cinema and Broadway.
Well, exactly. And how much did you like going in? How much did you know about Elton John?
Okay,
like,
I mean, 100% serious. Like the easiest answer is nothing. Because all I really know about the guy is like radio hits,
songs,
like a couple of like clips of interviews. Like I know nothing.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I guess that's why you got it. Like I'm a big fucking Elton John fan. Anyway, after I saw the film, like I was very vocal about how much I loved it. Like I like genuinely in fucking school, whatever fucking kids were listening to, like I was a fucking Elton, like I love fucking Elton John, and you can't be a kid growing up, in the time
and like Elton
we
John
grew up, right, and it'd be like a fucking cool thing, right? It's not like now where people are wearing vintage fucking band t-shirts and shit like that, right? Weren't fucking like that. So it weren't a cool thing to be a part of. But I've kind of always been obsessed. Not like fully obsessed with him like I am with some other bands, but I've always known a deep history. So I knew the real depression side of it. I knew the real trouble we had with a lot of stuff. So for me, because I knew that stuff, I was prepared for that. But and also I had seen an interview of him way before they made it where he said one of his main conditions for making a film was that they didn't really leave anything on the table. Yeah, Elton, yeah. His one thing was like, don't leave anything. You don't need to make me look good. He's like, you can show, he's like, you can show I was a fucking drug addict. You can show that I had my fucking heart broken. I just didn't know where I was going and all this kind of stuff. I loved all that stuff, you know. It's weird, right? Because before that we had like Bohemian Rhapsody. And
I didn't see it.
I like it. It's good. I know there's like...
Yeah, I'm not 100% against it. It's just I was so ready for the Sacha Baron Cohen one that when it didn't happen and we got Bohemian Rhapsody, I wasn't in a rush to see it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't.
I know what you mean. I mean, again, like, I'm a massive Queen fan, so I went to see it on that basis. I heard all the fucking praise Remy was getting for his performance as Freddie, and I was like, okay, like, I've got to see this film. I want to see this film. Then you've got the whole Bryan Singer fucking angle, right? So, like, yeah, this is a bit shit. I don't really know. But then, like, I don't know, it's a weird thing, right? Because it's like, you don't want to support Bryan Singer once you hear all the stuff that comes out about him. But at the same time, you don't want to not support
everybody else that worked on that movie,
other people that worked on that movie, right? Like that's the tough fucking part of it. Like it's not just one dude that made that film; it was hundreds of people that made that film. And I liked Bohemian Rhapsody. Don't get me wrong, I did like it. It was good. The ending is really, really nice with a Live Aid performance. But
they ended on Live Aid.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
There's a little. I don't know. There was a little something missing. And what I love about the Elton John one, and the other problem with like Bohemian Rhapsody is they play really fucking loose with the facts, so they change shit in that, like which all films do, right? All films based on a real person, like they're gonna change some shit. We know that's fine, but you need to like have a way around it, right? My problem with Bohemian Rhapsody is they like presented that shit as if it was gospel. So when it's like it didn't happen like that at all. Like it's the whole thing. Like he tells them where he's got AIDS, and like it wasn't like that at all. Like the way they present it in the film, it was so far from that in real life. Okay. When you like present that as like this is what really happened, I don't know, that like jars with me a little bit. When there isn't a reason in the film for it not to be a certain way. So what I love, what I loved about Rocketman, absolutely loved about Rocketman, is it is told from the point of view of Elton looking back on his life.
Yeah,
and like memories.
I like that mechanic of like waking up and skipping time.
So, yeah, exactly right. So the idea of that is, if all the facts in Rocketman are not exact, in my opinion, you get away with it because not all your memories are exact, right? So if you're thinking back on your life and you're thinking shit's going to change, it might not be exactly how it happened. Rocketman found a very creative way of dealing with that I don't think Bohemian Rhapsody did. Okay. So like, and for me, Rocketman is a much better film than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
So it's really interesting that it might not get all the press and award buzz Bohemian Rhapsody do. So
I really hope that it does get some awards.
Yeah, I do.
Though, because it's a beautiful film.
It's strange that there ain't that much talk about it. When Bohemian Rhapsody come out, like that's all you heard, right? Even like the fucking awards even like survived the whole Bryan Singer stuff, right? That was like the same time, but it still survived that. And I don't know. There must be something behind the scenes with Rocketman why it's not getting the same kind of push for the awards. It's weird. It's strange.
I mean, I've come to accept that my line of like what is offensive is apparently astronomically different from a lot of people's. What is explicit to you? It's all like under frame and like I found that scene.
You mean like the gay?
Giggles.
You mean the gay love scene? Right? Yeah, like my thing with that is like you saw two dudes somewhat naked, right? I say you saw them somewhat naked because you never saw any full frontal stuff on. Right. So if you find that really graphic and offensive, that says more about you than it does about the scene.
Thank you.
Right, because how many naked?
Yeah, how many the opposite of that have you seen?
Right, exactly. How many heterosexual love scenes have you seen where actually your opinion is probably we didn't see enough, right?
Yeah.
So if you're watching that shit and you're like, yeah, that was fucking offensive, that was like grotesque, like, I don't know, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Come on, it's 2019 for fuck's sake, like get over it. And also the other thing is, right, if you're going to a film about Elton John's fucking life and you're offended that he's having gay sex, maybe don't go to the Elton John fucking
like, why are you there?
You know what I mean? It's like going to a fucking Little Richard fucking biopic and being like, oh shit, he's gay.
Right.
Fucking yeah. Like, come on. Like, get over yourself. People that are like, oh, it's really like offensive. It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, genuinely speaking, why is that shit offensive to people? Like, I don't get it. Like, why is that? Are people
I've also never understood that, why it was.
But that's what I don't get. Like, why are you actually offended by gay people? Like, I just do not fucking get it.
One of the jobs I had, like, I was opening up a bookstore. Like, I took it from an empty, like, husk of a building to a full bookstore. Right, and it was before the scanning devices were working, so you had to look and read and decide where things went. And I swear to you, I was the only person in the building who was willing to do it with the gay section. Everybody, I mean, there were dudes who were doing like ridiculously comical things, like just flipping the books so they didn't have to see the pictures on the covers. And I'm like, where are we right now?
Like, is it like, are people offended because they're fucking scared like it's contagious, and if they look too long, like they're gonna be gay? It's just so fucking ludicrous. What the fuck? Like, why are you so
truly, like, unless it is like a fear that it might start to get you going, like, what you're straight. Every straight sex scene doesn't turn you on.
Right.
So, exactly. Like, why is it offensive versus just something you don't want to see?
Right. Exactly. It's love, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Love is love, man. Whatever.
Get the fuck out, man. Like, and the other thing is, you don't, by fucking coming out of it and going, yeah, that was a really beautiful fucking scene between two men, they don't make you fucking gay. Like, why are people so scared to be like that? People have to distance themselves so far from that. Then they're like, oh, it was fucking offensive, and it's like, it wasn't. You're fucking offensive by like ridiculous backwards mentality.
Well, and like, I've got a whole other like filter for a lot of that kind of stuff, because like, I mean, I graduated from an 85% Hispanic high school in Southern California. Right. Yeah. So like the machismo that you already get in a testosterone laden high school.
Yeah.
Now add like 10 more layers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like, hopefully like we're gonna lose that shit soon, because no one needs that trouble. You know, no one needs that shit. Like, just fucking drop that now. Like, come on. Like I said, it's 2019, right? We got a lot more fucking shit to be worrying about.
Yeah.
People's stupid fucking ideas about who people should love and who they shouldn't love, and you know, come on, man. Just let people love who they fucking want, right? Don't change your life. That's like the other side. That's the other side of it. I never understood, even from a very early age. It's like, why the fuck do you care so much? Like, it doesn't. If people are gay or not, how does that? I don't get it. I just don't understand how that affects your life. Like, how is your life better or worse because someone else's sexual orientation? Like, exactly. they're not forcing you to fucking have sex with them.
Precisely. Like, my thing has always been like, as long as whatever you're doing is A, consensual, and B, you're not trying to force it upon me.
Right. There you go. Yeah. My thing is just like, look, is like, one fucking rule, right? Just be respectful.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, whatever it is, whatever you're into, whoever you're dating, whoever you like, whatever it is, like anything in life, just be fucking respectful. Simple as that.
Exactly. Cool. All right, so let's transition into your stuff.
Let's jump into the films.
Yeah. So how would you describe Silently Within Your Shadows?
Ooh. So to best describe it, like my method of filmmaking or storytelling, I prefer to call it storytelling.
Fair enough.
Something is one thing on the surface, right? So like, if you're going into Silent With Your Shadow, it's a creepy doll film. It's a creepy puppet film, right? On the surface. It like, actually, right. Fuck yes, look at that, right? If you're going in and you want a creepy puppet film, that's what you're going to get, right? But actually what the film is about love and obsession. It's this like love triangle, really, between a girl who is obsessed with her career in this instance, which is ventriloquism, but also is very deeply in a relationship with her boyfriend. Sometimes, as has been the case in my life, sometimes you can be in, you know, feel like you're in a good relationship, but where you want to go in terms of your career, or where life is taking you, where that path is taking you, doesn't always play into the way, so, you know, someone else's path is going. So it was like a little fun way of kind of exploring that, and it's like love obsession thing.
Has that happened to you a couple times, or like was that
it's come up, yeah, probably like 2 or 3 times. Just in like, I don't know, like I just have always been I've never really been that good at anything in my life. Like I wasn't like in school, right? I was never like top of the class in anything. But then I discovered this thing called filmmaking, and I fucking loved it. And I really took to it, really paid attention more than anyone. And I really, thought, okay, this is something I can do. I have this idea of like, whatever it is in life you have a passion for, or whatever it is you get joy out of, just fucking chase that every fucking day of your life. Because, and by that, like, don't get me wrong, right? I don't think it's got to be this big flashy thing like being a filmmaker or an actor or a musician or anything like that. It can be fucking anything, right? Like, my mum works in a bakery, right? In Tesco's. The UK is like Tesco's our biggest supermarket in the UK. It's like Walmart for you guys, right? It's okay. She just works in a bakery there, but she loves it. She's been there like fucking 20 years. She gets everything she needs out of it. She is the loveliest person in the world, and her and my dad have provided me with the setup to, the moral ground to go on and live my life, right? And I can't thank them enough. But she, what I'm saying is, like, she found something. She done, like, I remember, like, when I was younger, she done some other jobs that she didn't really like. Again, doesn't need to be anything special, right? She works in a bakery in a mass supermarket, but she finds some great joy out of it. So, like, my thing is, like, whatever it is you find that fucking joy in, like, chase it and do that. It just so happens that, like, where I found my love and my joy was something that is extremely hard to obtain, and something that it does, like, take over your life a little bit, and or it does in mine. Like, I have a very obsessive personality. When I'm into, like, filmmaking and I'm making a film especially, like, it takes over my life, and that's very hard for people to accept, and rightfully so. And and that's cool as well, because, like, if your life isn't taking you that way, then that's fine. Like, I wouldn't say to anyone you have to accept other people's life choices or my life choice or whatever it is. So
most definitely, it's like, and like you were saying, like, it just takes over your life. And it's like a couple times that I've done some PA work and some set construction and stuff like that. Like, throughout all of it, anytime, like, I call my girlfriend, she, like, even exhausted, she's like, you never sound happier than when you're doing this. Yeah, and I'm like, because it's true. Because, like, even if I'm doing something that I kind of hate, like one night, oh my god, there was a night shoot, 14 hours guarding a parking lot, sir.
Oh
my god, bro.
Yeah.
But that same night, I'm getting schooled by John Savage about the Deer Hunter.
Right.
Like,
exactly. So,
like, come the fuck on.
Exactly. Right.
The end of the opening shot of Silently, I really liked, where it was like the softening focus on the chair. Like, I have an undergrad degree in theater, so, like, that's another reason, like, I really dug, like, all the stuff in Rocket Man. So, like, just that soft fade away to me almost felt like, because she doesn't look happy while she's performing at the beginning. Yeah. It's almost like her fading interest in what it is she now has to do. Like, anyway, so that was me. Was any of your were any of your, like, Dutch angles or, like, low stuff specific homages, or was it more just like these work for horror?
I mean, I take inspiration from fucking everywhere, right? But oddly, with that said, when it comes to shooting and stuff, like, I'm a real fucking whore for, like, the way films are shot and editing and stuff like I love that. I watch YouTube videos on that shit fucking all day, right? I actually don't take a lot of inspiration from that stuff from horror. So, like, the way I shoot stuff is mainly, like, I get a lot of inspiration from old westerns.
Okay.
Just weird stuff like that. But I wouldn't say, like, any one shot is an homage to anything else. It's more, I very much like to play by the belief of every single thing you do in a film, every shot you pick, everything in that frame has to be there for a reason. It has to tell a story. Like, I don't buy into the idea of, like, you just point a camera, right, and shoot. So, like, every...
Have you seen Neon Demon?
Yeah.
Because the imagery in that, like, it, to me, is every single thing is there very specifically for purpose.
Yeah, well, I think every film he makes.
Yeah.
Definitely. He definitely has he's the same. He definitely plays by this idea of, like, everything you put in, every angle you choose. So yeah, it's more so in the idea of, like, what am I trying to say? Or, like, where do I want to put the audience in that moment? So, like, you've got shots like towards the end where they're arguing and it's all breaking down, and we're, like, the camera is like a wide shot in the living room of them coming in the door and arguing, but then when they move in the living room, we move back outside into the hallway into a wide shot arguing. So where did it be this idea of, like, it is this, like, thing of you're watching it from a distance, like you're watching your parents argue. So, like, then I kind of want to put you into the position of, like, Hugo in a way, and
gotcha.
For people that haven't seen it, that's the doll, the dummy in the film. So it's the idea of, like, he's almost this kid at that point, right? And he's watching his parents come home and argue, but you're never right up close to that. You're always watching it from a distance.
Right.
So it was like that idea. And I love playing with that idea. And I always love like framing stuff through door frames and stuff like that, and just putting stuff kind of in its box and containing it. Trying to contain it within a frame. I think that inspiration-wise just comes from kind of a history of cinema of trying to make everything mean something rather than one thing.
Speaking of the doll, why don't you go ahead and talk about a little bit about how you got Bill Moseley involved?
Yeah. Okay. So again, like part of my like philosophy with filmmaking is just constantly aim as high as you want to go, right? Like there's some stuff that's going to restrict you, right? Like you've only got a certain amount of money. The money really is the big one, right? On most films, you've only got a certain amount of money. So I know that like with Silently, we're only going to be able to afford so much, right? We're only going to be able to do this and that. But here's the thing, right? That doesn't stop you like asking shit. So like me and Sharad, who like shot that film, like we thought about like cameras and lighting and stuff like that. We asked and we were only able to get what we were able to get, but we still asked, right? We still asked at the top end of what we could get. But unfortunately, rental houses and that, they don't really give a shit. They just want your money. So we just got what we had, which weren't like great kicks. We don't have a big budget. But with the doll, I really wanted to do something. I just wanted a voice that, if you're a horror fan, you kind of recognize. I just wanted it to be something that was like a bit otherworldly. And I just really wanted to shoot from the stars. And when I was writing the screenplay, I just had Bill in mind. And I was just like, how fucking cool would it be to get Bill to like voice this fucking dummy? That would be the coolest fucking thing in the world. Probably the biggest question I get about this film all the time. I just asked him. It's as simple as that. I literally asked him, got in contact with his agent, spoke with her a little bit, and then I spoke with Bill, and we went back and forth on, had a great dialogue from the get-go. Our ideas were exactly the same, as in like, I didn't want it to be Chucky, really. Right. I didn't want it to be Charles Blade, nor did he though. He didn't say that. It's much more of an emotional thing that tied into Lucette's mentality. You can watch a film from two ways, right? You can watch a film from It's a Killer Doll, or you watch a film from the angle of the doll doesn't do anything and it is all her. It's all in her mind, right? Because the only real angles you ever see of the doll doing anything are from her point of view, her outlook, right? So it was this idea of like, is it just all in her fucking head? And that ties back to the end shot, right? Like when they come home and they're arguing, he's sitting in the middle of the sofa. And then the very end shot of the film is him sitting back in the middle of the sofa.
Exactly.
So it's this idea of, like, did he just go back there, or actually did he ever fucking move, and was it just her that done this, right? So he got that, Bill got that like straight away. It was just amazing. It worked out. And it's just, but again, that's just my thing. I have this thing of like shoot from the stars, and then everything I do, I want to try and like up myself constantly. So I want to, I want my next film to like be better than the previous one, but I also want to challenge myself more. I want to go bigger with something, or I want to try something new, or I want to look at someone like Bill Moseley and I want to go, okay, like he's done, some of my fucking favorite horror films, Texas 2.
I love that movie so much.
Man, I fucking love that film. Like, he's fucking amazing. But also, like, House of Thousand Corpses I love, but Devil's Rejects, man. Come back to that. Like, I fucking love him in that film. I was just like, okay, like, will a guy like him, who is a serious fucking player in the genre, will he read what I have wrote and listen to what I've got to say and go, sorry, kids, I've got better stuff to do, or can I play in that world? Can I throw my hat in that ring and say, fucking, I got Bill Moseley in a fucking film, Yeah, again, it was just that idea of like challenging myself and seeing if I could get him and see if he'd want to do it and see if he'd want. Yeah, and he did, man. He really took to it. And to this day, me, we still interact over social media all the time. Awesome. Yeah, he still very much keeps up to date with everything. He likes a lot of the posts I put out about Black Mass and stuff like that. So he stays up, fucking great guy, man. Really good guy.
I was gonna ask, like, did you keep it like strictly professional when you were working on the short, or did you get to geek out on him? Like, what did you guys?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to like geek out too much. So because of the budget on the film, we didn't actually get to meet on the film, right? Which is crazy. Right. But he's out there with you in LA, and I'm over here in England. It didn't make sense for me to go out there or for him to come here just for work that's all voice, right? We just spoke over email, stuff like that. We kept it mainly professional. We first started talking, I geeked out a little bit, but not too much, right. Just more about like the stuff I liked of his and stuff like that, and why I wanted him to do it, and also like why I wanted it to present it to him an idea of like, this is why I think you should do it, and this is what I think you'll get out of it as well, So yeah, it was cool. But yeah, I probably didn't get to geek out as much as possible, but next time in LA, maybe I'll get to hook up with him and then I'll geek out. I'll properly geek out.
For sure, man. For sure. My last note was, are you familiar with Cannibal Corpse?
Yeah. The band.
Hammer Smash Face?
Yeah. Oh, yes. There you go. Yeah.
At the end, I was like, I want to cut a trailer to Hammer Smash Face.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Good times, man. Good times. Do you want to talk a little bit about the actors? Because I noticed like you've got the same actress in the lead of both. And...
So Sophie I've used in 3 films actually. We done a tiny little 48-hour challenge short film that's on my YouTube channel, just called Holding Back. It's not horror at all. It's just like a little character piece. It was literally you had to make a film in 48 hours.
Yeah,
so actually,
write, cast, shoot, edit. Yeah,
exactly. So it was just like a challenge. Like, what can we do? Like, what the fuck can I write in a night? We go out the next day and we film it and edit it, and that's it. It's a cool little film, man. Like, I like it. It was good. And she's
check it out, man.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. She is a hell of a fucking talent. She is she's good, man. She's really good. I've seen her in some theatre plays and stuff like that, and she is a fucking force to like be reckoned with.
Is she local, putting out an American accent, or
she's American?
Okay.
She is American, but she lives in London. So that was another reason for getting Bill, right? Is because she is actually American. That isn't a fake accent. She is American. So my idea was like, okay, if this is mental and this is a projection of her, I just like the idea of the voice being American that comes out.
That makes sense.
So that's again why we're Bill or an American actor to do it. And luckily I got my first choice. But yeah, she's amazing. She really is. Byron, who plays Jace, again, I found both of them just through auditions, and he just really kind of gave me everything I needed straight in an audition. And as soon as I met him, got along like a house on fire. Really, really great guy. 2 stellar people. And the beauty of what come out of it, though, like me and Sophie become like really good friends out of it. Right. So that's why I ended up doing a 48-hour film challenge with her, and then we ended up doing Echoes of the Past together as well.
Definitely. Well, that's a good segue into Echoes of the Past.
Love it. I love a good segue.
I was curious how you cast it. And you said you had auditions. So did you want to talk a little bit about how you cast both of your films? Do you have a similar process? Do you always use the same way, or do you go for people?
Kind of a bit of both on everything. So with Silently, it was casting. I had made 2 short films previous. Again, they were on my YouTube channel. And then with Silently, it was like, okay, let's just try and kind of ground what I've learned now, right? And try and make something out of that. So on them 2 films, I just ran online auditions. And then the same with Silently. I ran online auditions. Echoes of the Past, I done no auditions whatsoever, because when I come into that film, the only film I've ever made that was wrote by someone else, great guy called Tony Sands. One of the challenges I had set myself after doing it Silently was I really, really just wanted to test myself as director. Direct something someone else had put together, right? I actually had a lot of screenplays offered to me and submitted to me and all good stuff. But my other thing is, every film I make, there has to be something I'm trying to say with each film. Like I only ever write when I've got something to say or when I want to explore something with a film. So that's like all through my films, right? The first 2 shorts that I made, first one's called Supernova. It's like a home invasion thing, and it's just about, my thing was like, there's a very thin line between good and bad and order and chaos. So it's exploring that, and I won't say any more about that film, but it's like I just wait to like kind of explore.
Is that one on YouTube?
That's on YouTube, yeah. So like Supernova's on YouTube, and then second one, which is called Order of the Ram, that's on YouTube as well. So with Supernova, it was just this idea of like, where to explore, like, how do we judge who's good and who's bad? Can our opinion of the villain change and the hero change, based on the information? But not so much can it change, like, I know it will change. So it's just me exploring and showing that, right? Like it can change. And it was more so like not in film, like in real life, right? Like when we see it, a lot of the time we're very quick to judge shit, like based on like just a black and white mentality of this is good, this is bad. But actually it's a lot different to that. Why do we perceive some people as being villains and some people being heroes when actually could be so far from true? So that's what I wanted to explain that. And that was like I always say that's the first proper short film I ever made, because I'd made like shit before that, just with like a home video camera and stuff like that. But that's the first short film I ever made with a crew and actors, and just really seeing if I could direct something with people that weren't my friends, just like getting all these people together who I didn't know. Can I direct that? Can I actually do this thing I want to do? The next one, Order of the Ram, it's a cult picture. It was the way of me exploring blind belief in faith and how people can do horrible things And again, like my thing is, right, like I want to explore these ideas, but then I set them in a fucking horror film. So I want to explore them ideas in Supernova, but I set them up in a home invasion film. I want to explore these ideas of blind faith, but then I set it in a satanic cult horror film. I want to explore these ideas of love and obsession, so I set it in a creepy doll film, right? So then when it come to my fourth film, Echoes of the Past, it was, okay, I want to do something someone else's wrote. And I got some great stuff, right, sent to me, but I didn't connect with any of it. None of it really like spoke to me on a level. And even if I'm not writing, I still need to connect with something. There still needs to be a story I need to tell.
You don't want to throw your energy into something you're going to hate from the start.
Right, exactly. You know, and it takes a fucking long time to like make it. You know, it takes a lot of energy. It takes, you know, even just a short film, it takes months and months and months to make short films. For me, I've got to be able to like make that film, and then when I put it out there, like I stand by it, right? I'm like, I'm proud of it. Like for better or worse, you go on YouTube, you go and watch Supernova. It's not the fucking best film you've ever fucking seen. Like you go and watch All Around. It's not the best film you've ever fucking seen. I stand by him. Because I stand by the message I tried putting in them. I stand by where I was in my career at the time with the tools we were given, what we delivered. So yeah, Echoes of the Past was the case. So I met Tony because he was doing a load of interviews for a horror website at the time, and he interviewed me. And after the interview, he said to me, I've got this screenplay called The Haunting. Would you give it a read and tell me what you think? So I read it. I said three things. Really good. Really, really good. I really, really like it. I hate the title, so I'm going to change the title.
It's been done 1,000 times, yeah.
So I'm going to change the title. And then me and Tony together come up with Echoes of the Past. I also wanted to, because it was three guys and a girl, I also wanted to push the girl to the forefront of the film and make her the main drive of the film.
Gotcha.
You've seen my stuff. It's all mainly female fronted. So I've done that again with that one. But yeah, I mean, Tony's a great writer, and he was so, there's a lot of like stuff I wanted to change in the original screenplay and go a different way with. And he was, as long as I had a proper reason for changing it rather than just, change it, right? As long as I said, I want to change it and here's why. He was great. He was really, really great. Really nice guy, really, really talented guy. And he's got another film coming out at the end of this year, actually, produced by my producing partner, Chris Niles, director called Damon Rickard, who has done some really good stuff that's been around on the indie scene. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. What's the film called? The film's called Emo, which stands for Eat Me Out. Right? Yeah. It's actually, the full title is Eat Me Out of House and Home. So in America, do you have like them like dining shows where people go round to like your house and then you go round to someone else's house and they cook you dinner, and it's like cooking competition?
Not that exact format,
right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Right, yeah. So we have something over here like that. So they've just done like a riff on that. It's like a horror comedy.
Okay.
Type thing. Yeah. It sounds really fun. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing it. They're all really great guys. Like I said, Tony is a really fucking cool writer. And, you know, Chris helps me do everything I do. And I know he said some really good fucking things about the film. So, yeah, I definitely can't wait.
Cool, man. I take a lot of random ass notes. So
good. Yeah.
When you picked up that creepy ass old egg beater, every time I see one of those things, it doesn't matter if it's in the most like wholesome Disney movie, that thing's creepy.
It's creepy as fuck, right? Yeah, exactly.
So the house that you filmed in, was it purposely, I'm trying to figure out exactly. It looked like there were trees like in the house. Was this in the architecture, or were there like trees in the middle of the house?
No. So this house, the house we shot in, again, when me and Tony were discussing the film, I said to him, there's 5 characters in this film. You've got your 4 main characters, and then you've got the house, right? The house plays such a huge role in that film, more than any film I've ever made. We were really, really, really lucky that we knew someone that had it's like a 16th century house in England, but it's just like run down, right? It's just like it's beat to hell. Like he hasn't done anything with it. So basically it was I don't know, I think like the 1940s or 50s or something, like whoever brought it decided that like wood wasn't a good look, right? So they like plastered over everything, and it was all plaster and everything. So when the guy that lent it to us brought it, he just ripped all this fucking plaster out and discovered all this beautiful like wood, like 100 years old fucking wood, so amazing, hundreds and hundreds of years old. It's gorgeous. And it was just this thing.
We Americans get looks on our faces when you talk about the age of houses because we have nothing
I know. It was a weird, creepy, and it was like supposedly haunted. So that was like another thing, right? It's like, if I'm going to do like haunted house film, what better way to do it than setting it in this creepy old house where like if you went upstairs, like there were no fucking floorboards in one of the rooms. right? So you just would have fell straight through to it was crazy. It was just like, it was unbelievable. Like, it just gave us so much character. There was like nothing in there. I had to get in a like really, really cool production designer and set designer, and she went to town. So she, like, everything you see in there, from like the sofas and the chairs, and she done all that. She sorted all that out, you know.
The fellow with the hat, that dude was hilarious and awesome. You know, talk a little bit about that guy.
Right. So that guy with the hat is Tony, the guy that wrote the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right, so that's Tony. So coming back to, I don't actually think I even fucking answer your question a little bit about casting. So talking about casting. So when I come on, Tony had in mind a cast for the film. The main guy, Paul, the professor. Yeah. So he was an actor I had seen in some other short films. Guy I really, really liked, and I always wanted to work with. So Tony had already sent him a really early draft of the screenplay, which he liked. So straight away, Tony said, "Oh, like, this guy's got it. Like, what do you think?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've waited to work with him for ages. So if this works out, yeah, like, brilliant. Let's go for it."
Awesome.
And that was the great thing with Tony as well, right? Like, Tony had people in mind, but as soon as I come on, Tony said, "If you want to put whoever you want in, you do it. You know, you do." And I was like, "No, well, Paul, I've waited to work with for ages, right?" So yeah, Paul's in. And then the two kind of comedy characters, he wrote for himself and his friend Mac, who's a comedian, Mac McFadden.
I was thinking that guy's real funny too. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. They're both really, really good. I said to him, I would love to put you guys in it. I just need to know it's going to work, because the dynamic between a serious and a comedy can't be that far apart. Like, it can't be.
Otherwise neither feels right. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, it can't be, you can't have like really serious and then all of a sudden slapstick. I just said to Tony, like, what have you guys done before? And they had done a short film before. So he sent me that short film and he said, you know, let me know what you think. If you want to recast it. So I watched the short film. I said, no, it's really good. I said, obviously, that was a comedy film, right? And I said it's probably played a lot more slapstick than we're going to need for this. So in working with them, like, we just got to that level of where they delivered this nice comedy edge to everything, but it's still, when you needed them, like, at the end to go serious.
Right, exactly.
Like, it weren't so far where, like, you know, for fucking 10 minutes you've been watching Charlie Chaplin, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's like really fucking serious, and you're like, oh shit, like, that don't work, you know. So it was just finding that bridge, finding a way that worked. And again, they were really, really good. They were really, really responsive to that. From there was the role of Liz. Straight away, I'll never forget when I got the screenplay. I read the screenplay. I really, really liked it. I was on a train reading it. I messaged Tony. I told him I want to do it. Told him about the title, stuff like that. I said I want to do it. And then the next person I messaged was Sophie, saying I found the next film we're going to do. And that was it. And
right.
And then she was like, yeah, good. She was in based on that. Yeah. So it was really cool. Really, really cool.
Speaking about her, at one point I just had to write the note. I said, not all Americans are shrieking harpies.
Yeah.
she just started going.
Yeah.
She's really emotive, man. Like, that's the thing. It's like, you know, when you watch some lower budget films, like, you know, you just have to go in with, you know, I'm watching a lower budget film.
Of course.
And that means, like, everything might be, you know, lower.
Everything comes down to level. Yeah.
But it's always like, I'm always really appreciative where, like, even within that framework, like, actors who are talented, even if it's, I'm the kind of guy, like, I need to find something that I like about a movie. Otherwise, it's like crazy.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
like even like See No Evil, the WWE movie, like, the lighting was great. It really was. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, everybody that you got has at least that emotion behind it, where I'm like, cool, I'm able to watch this and be involved.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's the like, in all honesty, like, I fucking take that responsibility on, you know, as a director. I think if you're not getting, and I've learnt this as I've gone on every film I made, you have to provide whatever that framework is. Like, for the actors you've chose, right, you need to make them look the best they've ever fucking looked, right? So you work out how you, on Echoes more than like anything, the way I work with all of them actors was very different. Like, the way I directed Paul was very different to Sophie. The way I directed Sophie was very different to Tony and Mac. So it wasn't like just one, right? It wasn't like one thing for them guys. Like, and I learned a hell of a lot on that film about, you have to build this framework to allow them to do what they need to do. Yeah, it was like, that was something I was really proud of, like, coming out of that film. Was just like, I just thought they all fucking knocked it out of the park, you know. Whenever I see films where I see an actor that isn't great, most of the time I put down the director, man, because I'm like, if you know, that was your job. Your job was to fucking get that out of them, right? Like, case in point, like there are some fucking people where you watch a film and you'll be like, what the fuck, like that dude can't act, but then you'll see him in something else in like 2 years time, and you'll be like, holy fuck, where did that come from? Like, it was always there.
Cast is like that,
right, exactly, right. But it comes down to director, right? If it was always there, the actor always had it there. You just had to pull it out of them. That's your fucking job, right? Like, if you're not doing that, why are you directing? You're part of your storytelling is them actors, right? And I have like so much fucking respect for actors, because it is genuinely the one thing I will never be able to do. I have picked up a camera and shot a film. I can't shoot it as well as the DOPs I work with, but I can pick up a camera and shoot a film. I have picked up a boom and recorded sound. I can't do it as well as the sound guys I work with, but I have done it. I do know how to do it. Lighting, the lighting team, we're on Black Mass, right? My latest one. Best lighting team I've ever worked with. Fucking amazing. Every single one of them is an absolute fucking rock star. They're all fucking geniuses. But I know how to light film. I know where lights. I can't do it as well as them. I can't do it as efficiently as them. I do not have the knowledge they have, but I can kind of do that. I've done that before. The one thing I can't fucking do to save my life is act. Okay. I can't act, right? So it's like the only fucking thing where I have to fully fucking trust someone else, because if they walk off set, like, I can't fucking pick that up. Like, if my DOP walks off set, right? Like, the film's not going to look as good anymore, right? Because they can make it look a lot better than I can. But we're still going to get a film. I can still pick up a camera and I can still kind of make it. I pick all the shots anyway, right? It's not going to look as fucking good because I'm nowhere near as fucking talented as my DOP is. But I can still pick up a camera and fucking shoot a film, right? The actors walk off. I ain't getting in front of camera. I ain't getting in front of a camera and fucking doing that. I can't do that. It would be a fucking travesty, right? I can't do that shit. So, like, I have so much respect. Not really. It's just never been for me. It's never been for me. When I was in college, you had to, like, bounce back and forth, right? Because you'd be in small teams. You know, be like, oh, you do this, and then, like, it would all get swapped. So, like, at some point, you would have to go in front of camera. Oh, I fucking hated it. I hated every minute of it. It just wasn't for me. I'm just not someone to go in front of camera. I just don't like. I like being behind camera. Yeah, it's fine. Or unless I can be in my, like, if I'm being myself, like now on a podcast and just talk. Yeah. Great, I'll do that. But I can't act. There's no, like, I can't do that to save my life, you know. I know what I want actors to do. I think I know how to get that out of them, but I can't do it.
You can't communicate it, then you can't do the job.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. I can't do it. Exactly. I can't fucking do it. I like to think I can work with. I've always seemed to have been very complimented on my ability to work with actors and get performances out of people. I've always said, like, that's for other people to judge, though. You know, it's a weird thing. Like, when you get asked that, like, do you think you're a good director or something? It's like, I don't know. It's for other people to fucking say, right?
It's like, that's rude, bro.
Yeah, like, I can't say it. You fucking tell me, you know? You can't, can you? You can't, like, you hope you are, right? You hope you're fucking good. It's for other people to say. So, yeah, in terms of actors, man, like, so much respect for them. And coming off back of Echoes, like, I loved all them guys. They're fucking awesome.
Most definitely, man. I mean, actors are a special breed, you know? Like, the ones that are, like, fully committed. Like, you have people who can act, and then you have, like, actors, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like, actors are, like, this is the thing I love about actors, right? And, like, I say this to every actor I work with, like, they're also the most nightmarish people to fucking work with, because, like, they, like, and I fully get it. I fully fucking get it. Like, it's a joke I have with them. They need their time to get ready, and, you know, they need to make sure, you know, they're in the zone and this and that. And the thing is, you do have to understand that. But once you start playing with that as well, once you have that, like, nice little connection between you and you're like, look, I get it. You're a bit of a diva. That's fine, you know. But all actors are like that. But then, like, my take on it is, you know what, if they wasn't, then maybe you wouldn't get that fucking excellence you can get on the other side of the screen as well. Like, it for me, it's like, fucking it's both. You can't have one without the other. So yeah, I take that.
It's one of those things that, like, when you think of crazy next level filmmakers, they're almost always strangely tyrannical, but you don't get a Terminator 2 unless you're a James Cameron. You know what I mean? Like Titanic doesn't happen if he's not screaming at everyone like he screams at them.
There's a little bit of that. I don't know, just because, I see, I've always thought that, but then, like, I also...
I'm not saying that I want to hang out with these people in any way, shape, or form. That's part of it.
No, I get what you're saying.
Like a Mel Gibson-y thing. Like, you're great at what you do. I don't know if I want to hang out with you.
I get what you're saying. I don't think every director needs to be a fucking tyrant.
Oh, no, not at all. If that's what I come off.
No. But I also will fully accept that some people's genius comes with their fucking life.
That's what I meant right there.
It's just madness, right? Like with some people, you are not getting the genius without the madness. And like, I think there's a lot that fucking goes into them people. Stanley Kubrick was one of them, right? Like he was the worst fucking director to work with, like if you're an actor. But
it's not pleasant.
no, like not at all. The making of The Shining was a fucking nightmare.
Oh
right?
yeah, like I heard it was really, really awful to Shelley Duvall. And
he was there's the story of where she had the mental breakdown because he wanted her to emote fear and she wasn't being fearful enough. She could not convey terror enough, and he just wasn't fucking giving in. To convey terror out of her, he ended up chasing her around the hotel with a fucking butcher's knife just to like get this thing out of her. And they ended up doing like 80 something takes and she just had a fucking breakdown.
Yeah.
Like, she was just like, but he was like, that's what I wanted. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing, right? Because I could never do that. I could never, ever fucking do it. And I don't think...
Break someone down. Yeah, no, it's just...
Right, I don't think you need to do that either. But then at the same time, who the fuck am I to tell Stanley Kubrick what he should and shouldn't fucking do when you get the fucking film he gets, right? At the same time, I couldn't ever do it. I just couldn't ever go to that fucking place where you're like just beating the shit out of someone mentally just to get something for camera.
It's just rude.
That's like, don't get me wrong. Like I take film more serious than most people I know. It's film at the end of the fucking day.
Exactly.
Like, making a fucking film, like, yeah, it's not heart surgery. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, people don't need to be having breakdowns for you to make a masterpiece. Plenty of masterpieces, people are not having breakdowns, you know? I don't think people are having breakdowns.
You don't get like a Jodorowsky level crazy cool whatever without completely breaking down your cast mentally, whether or not they want it. But
that's true.
It's unnecessary, and you know, like the.
Yeah, I don't think.
And
I
again,
think
it's necessary because,
I think it's the process. It's that director's process, right? It's that director's process. If that's their process, and where I think it says more about them than the cast. Like that's where they need to go to. Maybe in the case of like Stanley and filmmakers like that, they could not get their actors to that place without turning into absolute pricks, right? Like they just that was just his fucking way of doing stuff. Like that's just the only place he knew how, right? But then you look at like Christopher Nolan did not do anything like that to get that performance out of Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight,
exactly.
Right? So Heath Ledger, you know, Christopher Nolan is the nicest fucking guy in the fucking world, right? But he provided the framework for Heath Ledger to just do what he needed to do and go into his headspace. And there's a lot in the actor there as well, right? Like Heath Ledger is a 1 in a million fucking talent. You know, you put you could have put every single man in Hollywood in that role in that year, and none of them would have given you that performance apart from Heath Ledger. Like it is a 1 in a million chance of what you just can't.
And the deep like nerds that get mad at it not being the Joker, I'm like, I'm not asking you to tell me whether or not you thought that was the Joker from the comic books. I'm asking you to admit that character is one of the greatest things that's happened.
I mean, like I am a huge Batman fan, a massive Batman fan, right? I got loads of Batman comics, loads of Batman everything, right? I love
89 Batman was my first midnight movie.
Right, yeah, man. Like the Tim Burton Batman films, like that was my like drug of choice growing up, right? Like I fucking hate that shit up. I love that stuff. Like for people to go, oh, I don't think it's like the real Joker. Like here's the thing with the comics, no one really knows who the real Joker is.
Exactly.
Right? No one actually knows who the Joker is. The Killing Joke isn't canon. The Killing Joke isn't canon, as in like it's the definition of who the Joker is. That's just an offshoot story, right? Exactly. It isn't actually the Joker's origin. Just an offshoot fucking story. The Joker, no one knows who the Joker is.
Like this new Joaquin Phoenix thing that looks really awesome.
Oh, that looks amazing. That film looks fucking amazing. But again, like, is that the Joker? Is that the inspiration for the Joker? Is there more than, you know? It's the other thing. Like, there was a thing in the comics not too long ago where it was hinted at that the Joker isn't one person. You know, the Joker's 3 different people.
Okay, because it was those one were like it was like his daughter, and it was like somebody else wearing his face, and yeah.
Well, you done that stuff, but then there was a bit where it was in like a Justice League comic where Batman asked the question. It's escaped me. Batman fans are gonna hate me. He sat in a chair.
I'll cut around it.
I don't know what the chair is, but he sat in a chair. He got to ask any question he wanted, and it was like, who is the Joker? And it isn't I don't know. I can't fully remember the comic, but I don't think it's like fully real. But the idea is that the Joker isn't one person. There is no real origin to the Joker. That's what's scary about the Joker, right? You don't know who the fuck he is. You don't know. That's what I love about the Dark Knight. I love that every time someone asks him where he got his, or whenever he tells someone where he got the scars, it changes every fucking time. Yeah. Because he's just like, he is the pure definition of a serial killer, basically, in the idea of most serial killers are not mindless people. They're very intelligent, thought out, calculated villains, right? And that's like what the Joker is. He's a very intelligent, very thought out, very calculated. He probably is the best villain of, maybe him and Darth Vader. Yeah.
Well, that, and, like when people start to get into the weird debate about, who is the Joker? And it's like every interpretation to me of the Joker has been one note. Like you can boil every interpretation of the Joker down to a single note within the framework of wherever they're being presented, except in the animated series where he's a full character.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if you who is the Joker, right? There's one. If you're talking like storytelling terms, it's very simple. Very, very simple who the Joker is. He is the pure opposite of Batman. That's it. Yeah. It's as simple as he is the pure opposite of Batman. He is the very fucking dark side of Bruce Wayne. He is like, what if Bruce Wayne went the other way? It would be the Joker. It would be the fucking Joker. That's
he did that recently.
Right. That's like my take on the Joker. And that's why he's the perfect villain. And again, there's a line in The Dark Knight where he says about like the Joker's trying to kill him, and he says like, I'm not trying to kill you. What would I do without you? Yeah. And that's the point. But that's why Batman can't ever kill the Joker, because they can't exist without each other, because they are the same fucking. The idea is the same. It's the same idea. It's a tragedy happening both their lives, right? The idea is that one guy went one way, the other guy went that way. But they equally could have gone the opposite ways and turned out to be whoever, So it's, that's my pure definition. My pure definition, he's the fucking opposite of Batman. That's it. Right. He's the pure opposite of Batman. I like that. I don't care what his real name is.
Because I'm terrible at transitions, and we'll just make it happen. You want to go ahead and talk a little bit about Black Mass and like the origins of it and like the success?
Yeah, sure. All right. So let's start there with a Kickstarter campaign. So yeah, that fucking blew up in a way I didn't expect. Do you know what? Like we got really lucky. Like when I done the Echoes of the Past crowdfund campaign, like that blew up in a way where we like made double our money. But nothing. Absolutely nothing like compared to this, where I went into this thinking, okay, what is the number I think we're going to be able to get? I went in with 6, and to come out with over 10 grand off a $6,000 thing, and it allowed me to push the filmmaking side of it beyond anything. I thought I would have to do at least a feature film to be able
to get that amount of money. You mean?
No, not that amount of money, but to work with some of the people I did on that film. Okay. I thought, for instance, like the whole idea of this was to create a monster around like depression and stuff like that, right? So it's like a visualization of what depression is, to me anyway. Well, it was to me, and I waited to do it with practical effects, and then cap that off with some decent visual effects, right? I really wasn't sure how I had this idea in my head, like, and again, right, it's like you shoot for the fucking sky, right? You right. Go as high as you can go. So my thing was, okay, I'm going to start on the idea that I want to create this character called Darkness, and I want it to look as good as any fucking monster you see in any Hollywood film this year, right? Like that's the level I want to get at, right? The reality of that is you need Hollywood level prosthetic designers, visual effects artists, stuff like that. In terms of visual effects artists, I got really lucky. There's a few shorts that I really fucking love that have done really well and blew up, and they're on Eli Roth's Crypt TV channel. One of them is called The Birch. Really fucking amazing. There's and the thing I went to do with visual effects is it was just going to be a cap, right? It was going to be a little cap on the practical effects side of it, right? It was like this beautiful marriage between them both. I didn't want loads of visual effects. I just wanted like this little. So I needed to find someone that could do that was prepared to come in and not do this massive showboaty thing with visual effects, but just do this little bit I needed that would just fucking be amazing. My number one pick was this guy based off these short films that I had seen, because again, I'm watching short films and I'm going, it's so subtle, but that's the best part, right? You're looking at it and you're not going, oh my God, like look at this fucking CGI.
I was going to say, like, are you talking about the CGI artist? Okay.
Yeah, CGI artist. Yeah. So I'm looking at it going, oh my God, like it's fucking amazing. Like I'm watching short films and this dude's work is as good as shit I'm seeing in any Hollywood horror film, right, in my opinion. So I'm like, that's the dude I want. So I went for him, and yeah, I was lucky enough that Ryan loved the screenplay, loved the idea, and then he come on, got the visual effects shots back, and they're amazing. They're like, and again, I stand up to it. I really stand up to it. I think you are going to be able to put darkness up against any Hollywood monster, and it's going to fucking stand up, right? And that's not down to me, man. That is down to Ryan, and then bridge into Christian, who again, right, prosthetics is the big thing with this, right? Because prosthetics is, if you don't get the prosthetics right, it's game over.
Well, I mean,
right?
Clearly you don't want to give anything away, because the thing, I mean, you're not even done with the thing yet, but I mean, do you want to describe it as much as you can so we know what we're talking about here? Like,
so it's like so like I said, the base point with it was like a visual representation of depression. I designed my own concept art for it. It's basically it's kind of like a demon figure that it has these huge horns on its head, and it's this
the shadowy thing on the poster.
Yeah, if you look at like the original concept art I put out, but then if you look at the poster I just released, if you look at like the outline on that poster, it's that outline, right? That is fucking darkness. But it's fucking sad. Like it's not, again, this was a weird thing, right? Because I wanted it to be depression. I didn't want it to be like out and out scary. I wanted it to be this thing where, like, if you see it from a distance, fucking scary. You know, it's this big fucking 6.5 foot, 7 foot fucking demon type. But it floats, doesn't have fucking legs. It's got all this fucking like black kind of like mist and you know, it's fucking scary, right? It's got huge fucking horns. When you actually get close to it and when you see it close, it's sad. Right, it's sad, man, because it's depression. So it's this idea of like, it's the representation of what the characters are feeling. So it's fucking sad. I needed a guy, you know, you were going to produce that, and again, it had to stand up, right? Because I'm building the whole fucking film around this idea of depression. I don't want it to be like when you see, not even just short films, but like when you see fucking feature horror films with a monster, when you get a glimpse of it, you're like, oh fuck, that don't look good. And it just takes you out of it, right? It takes you out of it. When I first pitched the idea to Chris, and I said to Chris, I want to do it. Chris was like, yeah, let's fucking do it, man. Like, it's awesome. And I said, there's one condition. I said, we don't make this unless we have a top effects company come in and create darkness. And I have to. So I was ridiculously fucking lucky that I got KM Effects over here in the UK, and they have done, I mean, you know, just go, and Christian Mallet is his name, just go on IMDb, just look at his credit list. It is ridiculous.
I wish I could say I know exactly who that is.
Yeah. He was nominated for, I mean, recently, like in recent memory, he was nominated for a BAFTA for the work he done on The Theory of Everything, the Stephen Hawking film. Yeah, he done the have you seen Autopsy of Jane Doe?
No.
Right, so
I've heard that one's right. like a slow burn, quiet, good one.
Yeah. So like there's a huge prosthetic in that, which is the girl, the Jane Doe. That is all prosthetic. That isn't a girl on the toe. It's all prosthetic, and they designed that. Yeah. They worked on Ghost Stories recently. I don't know if you saw that. Again, like
there's a couple movies called Ghost Stories, so I'm not
the latest, the like newer one, like last year with Martin Freeman.
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So he worked on that. They've worked on Star Wars. They've worked on everything, man.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just a case of like shooting from the stars, right? If I can just get anyone to do it, right? And here's the thing, right? They're only going to say no. That's the thing, right? They're only going to say no. If you approach them and they say no, you are in the same position you are in now. Right? Exactly. That is literally my philosophy. So I just got talking to him, presented him the script, presented him my concept art, told him what I wanted. You know, we discussed it. We went back and forth on ideas. He took to it, man. He loved the idea. He loved the meaning behind the film. He loved the passion behind the film. You know, he jumped on and created. Well, I mean, you see it when you see the film, but it's
definitely,
it's some fucking work, man. Like I said, I honestly think it stands up to anything you're going to see this year. Again, that is fucking down to them, you know, down to Christian, my VFX guy Ryan as well. They are absolute champions of what they do. They really, really are.
Yeah, no, like I was already excited to see it, but now I can't wait, man. So speaking of which, like, are you close to locked?
So I edit the film. I picture locked a little while ago, actually, a couple of weeks ago. VFX are done. They're locked. They're in the film now. I sent it off for grade today. Got a nice big hard drive together with all that stuff. Sent it off to the guy that's grading it. Got back last night the new draft of the sound mix. Liam, who recorded the sound for the film as well, another like just really, really talented fucking dude. And we like, I'm so fucking big on like sound and music and film and stuff like that. Like it's so important to me. He just got it. Like he just got everything I wanted to do. He got everything. He's got some really, really great ideas. Like so many. The first mix I got about a week ago now, it just had so much in it, because I said to him, I said, it's going to be so much easier for you to give me everything that's in your head and everything you've thought of based on the notes I've given you and what I want out of the sound design. And then we can take shit out. We can say, this doesn't work, that doesn't. It's going to be so much harder for us to go, it needs something. We've got to go and find something. So he delivered me a sound mix that just had so, like, too much. We needed to take stuff out. Like, I needed that. I wanted that, because it, at least then you see why adding stuff at certain points doesn't work, or why overproducing stuff doesn't work, you know? So it was great. He gave me everything. We went back and forth a little bit on my new notes, where I wanted to take it, what he wanted to put into it. And yeah, I got the latest draft of that through, and oh my God, like it's just this level of just trying to up every film. And he is just producing this on a level I didn't think I'd be able to do in a short film. I didn't think I'd be able to get a Hollywood level prosthetics guy in a short film. I didn't think I'd be able to get this ridiculously detailed and incredible sound design on a short film. And it's just up in order. We're basically there on sound design. We're basically around the corner.
Nice.
We just got to go in for final mix now. I'm waiting on a score for that. So as soon as the score's done, my composer Mitch, he is working away on it. I spoke to him today. Actually spoke to him just before I come on this. And yeah, he sent me some stuff I'm going to listen to once I get off of this. Give him some notes back on that. And hopefully by next week, we'll be there. We'll be ready, hopefully, yeah, to tie it up. And then we'll have to go in a studio and final mix everything and get the levels exactly where we need on everything and stuff. But yeah, man, we're around the corner. We're around the corner. It's coming along.
So what? So like Silently was like 15, and then It Echoes at like 20. How long is this guy?
Yeah. So this one I've cut down. So like with like Silently, to tell the story I wanted to tell, it kind of come out at 15. I was very happy with that. And then with Echoes, Tony's original screenplay was very long, very, very long. And he was happy, cut it down a little bit. We cut it down a little bit. And I just felt, to tell the story I wanted to tell, and we're going to keep it at 20 minutes. And that's long, right? That is fucking long for a short film. You don't get too many short films at 20 minutes. And we knew that. And we knew going in at 20 minutes, we were going to hinder ourselves for loads of festivals and stuff like, like Silently.
Because some of them, that's probably too long, huh?
Right, exactly right. So like Silently had a ridiculous festival run, like fucking 70 plus festivals. But I knew literally by adding 5 minutes onto that runtime and doing a 20-minute short film, you are drastically cutting your odds. So I said that to him from the get-go. I said, look, if we do this, I think it's going to be about 20 minutes. And that means we're not going to play that many. I said to him, I will be very, very happy if we play just 5 good festivals. Like just 5 decent fucking festivals, with like really good audiences in a really nice screen and stuff like that. That was the idea behind that. And then we were lucky enough to actually take that around the world and do a couple of good screenings with Echoes, even though it was 20 minutes. With Black Mass, a little bit different. I kind of come into this one I felt to tell the story I wanted to tell, I didn't need that much of a runtime. I also wanted to get it down as low as possible, because this has, in my mind, a lot more of an important message behind it than like the other stuff. The others were more like themes I wanted to explore, but with this one, with like depression, I really wanted to get, and because it sounded like personal thing, it's very much inspired by my own battles with depression. I wanted to try and make a film that could play actually as many festivals, many like really good festivals as possible, because then that just allows us to go out and start a dialogue about depression and to reach out to other people that suffer with depression. If we play a ton of festivals of this, but we get one person out of all the festivals that maybe opens up about their depression and talks to someone about it and just sees that actually a lot of other people do suffer with this. It's a lot more common than people used to make out. And if we can add, there's a lot of people doing a lot of really good work on mental illness and depression. If we can just like throw our fucking name in that ring and you know, and be another champion of that and just go, you know, look guys, like we're here too. We're supporting you. We're doing what we can. Runtime is just under 12 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. I know like certain festivals have like super short categories and then short, and then long form short or whatever. Yeah. But for most festivals, under 15, right?
Most festivals, in terms of official rules, won't really have a number around that, Richard. It will be more like fucking 40 minutes or whatever, because it's just a definition between what we think is a short and what we think is a feature. So it's like a feature has to be this. Right. So anything below that is a short, right? But you're most of the time you're not getting them. You will get some festivals that will do that. The festival, my festival, that I run over here, the Black Sunday Film Festival, I open it up to short films up to about 40 minutes because I've watched, just where I've been at festivals that do accept that shit, some of the fucking films I've seen that have blown my fucking mind are like over half hour long. So for me, it's just down to quality, right? I'm not like, I don't really give a shit about quantity. So this year, when I'm booking a festival, I don't really care about having a ton of fucking films in it. I prefer like quality. If I've got a submission that's over half hour long, but it's the best short film I've ever fucking seen in my life, it's playing, right? Yeah. It's going in. I don't care how long it is, it's going in. However, there are a lot of festivals, which I fully get why festivals do this, but there are a lot of festivals that will just go on the idea of getting in as many good films as possible. So then they try and look for the good films in the 10 to 15 minute region, because you can just program. Like if you think you have one really good half-hour film, but you have 3 pretty decent 10-minute films. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's more people you can get in, it's more variety, it's more filmmakers that can attend, it's more. So I get it. I fully get it. I fully understand why people do that. So you just got to do a bit of research, right? And know that this is the way the festival game's played a little bit. And then you know, just like whenever you're making a film, you've got to go, okay, well, what do I want to do with this? And with this one, I want to try and take it to as many places as I want. So I was like, okay, I want to get it under that 15-minute remit as far as I can, and that happened to be 12, just under 12 minutes.
Right on, man. When you were first talking about it, you were saying it was about depression and also dementia.
So that's a film I still want to make.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a different film. Thing.
Okay.
No, so it's a different film, and that's like not horrors. My nan suffers with dementia, and I tried making a film a little while ago called Our Song, which I tried to crowdfund, and it just didn't work. It just didn't take off. I think I made some mistakes in the crowdfund. It probably weren't as good as it should have been. But also, it's hard, right? Because like I said before, when we done the Echoes campaign, I crowdfunded Silently with success. Crowdfunded Echoes, blew up. Crowdfunded Black Mass, huge fucking. What is the fucking trend with all 3 of them? They're all horror. You look at any of my social media and anyone I know, it's all horror. I built up this horror fucking audience, right? Rightfully so, because that's all I've made is horror film. I wanted to then go and make a very strong fucking sci-fi drama about dementia, and rightfully so. That just does not connect the audience I've built. For years I built this horror audience, and then I try and sell them a sci-fi film, and they just don't connect with it. And I get that. It's still a film I want to make. It is a film I will make. It's something I'm very passionate about. So it is a film I will make. I've just got to work out how I'm going to fund it. I'll do it at some point. No one's to blame for that, man. Just some stuff don't work out, you know? Like, if, like I've done, you build this horror audience, they showed up and supported the fucking hell out of Echoes, and then when I done Black Mass, fucking they all showed up again, supported that. But it's because you're delivering this content that they want to see that, right? They're all diehard horror fans. They're not sci-fi. And also, I've never done that. If at this point you're backing my films and you're supporting my films, then you probably like what I've done in the past, right? And it's a very character-driven, slow burn approach to horror. So you kind of know that if you're supporting me making a horror film, you know what you're getting, right? You know you're getting a very character-driven, almost female-fronted horror film that very much plays into the thriller aspects of the story and stuff like that. Then when I try and sell you a sci-fi drama about dementia, well, I've never made that, so you don't know what the fuck that looks. So rightfully so, people don't want to put their money into that because they don't know what they're getting. They don't know if they're going to like that. You know, they group of people that support me like what we've been doing with horror. So they want to support the horror films, you know, and that's great. I love that. And that's why when Our Song failed, you know, I didn't blame anyone. I didn't sit on it. It is what it is. I get that. That's the fucking business we're in. Right. You know, I said, okay, I'll work out how I'm going to do that. I've also got this other thing I'm working on, new horror film. Why don't I get that out there? See if actually that takes. And it blew up. Yeah. So Black Mass is depression. And Our Song, when I do at some point get that going, probably the next one is trying to do the bloody debut feature film. It'll probably be after that now. It'll probably be once I do the feature film. I'll fit in.
Is the feature one that you've written?
Yeah. So So we are gonna look. So we're gonna do something quite interesting, actually. So I mean, we've just made Black Mass with money that we made on Kickstarter, and then also a bit more funding we got outside of Kickstarter, and money I put in and Chris has put in. Black Mass is about 15 grand. When all said and done, when we're done, it's going to be about 15 grand short. When we're going to do a feature, we need to now take that level of production we've shown people, or we are going to show people on Black Mass. Right. We need to deliver that now on a feature level, right? So now this is stupidly expensive. We can't go out and raise 10 grand again and tell people we're going to give them a feature film, because they're not gonna. Lots of people make feature films on 10 grand, and I've seen some fucking amazing films on 10 grand. We've now kind of sold people on what we're doing at a production level for shorts. I feel like we now have to try and maintain that and move that into feature, and I think that's the next thing we want to do. So it's going to be like a big old fucking campaign. I'm also very aware that we can't just come back out and start a campaign for like 100 grand or whatever and get that right. You've got to build that up. You've got to show people what you're doing. The plan is we're going to launch basically a pre-production campaign, so where we can go into pre-production, we can start getting stuff locked down. Once you start moving into feature as well, you have to start like presenting money to people up front. So like to get people to start doing stuff, you've got to start putting money down, and you've got to start putting deposits down and all that kind of stuff. So we need money to do that. We're going to pitch this idea of like, look, this is the feature film, but first we're going to raise for pre-production. Then what that's going to do is then when we launch the production side of it, we've got so much shit to show people, right? We're going to come out of pre-production with everything done. So then by the time we come to launch it, raising money for production, we will have loads of amazing concept art to show people, and we will have all these different aspects locked, different actors locked.
Probably have like concept art, maybe some cast and stuff like that.
Well, definitely. Yeah. So we're going to get all that down. We're going to get all that done. But yeah, we've first got to raise the money for pre-production and get that done. Then move into the beautiful and harsh world of feature filmmaking. Which we've been working towards for a while, but it's we got to try and make the leap now and see if we can do it. The original plan was always the feature, right? This year was going to be the feature film, and then it just so turned out that we've been working on some stuff behind the scenes with the feature film, which we'll fully announce in the coming weeks. So we will go into the pre-production campaign with some stuff announced, like we've got one of the actors will be able to announce. So we're just about to get that deal over the line. So make sure you cut that, because if it all falls apart, no, but that hopefully when we launch, we'll be able to announce him. Lead actress, I haven't decided on yet. There's a few options, but we'll see where we're going for that. We're still working on that. But we've also been working on a big music deal.
Music, you mean like a band that'll work for you?
No, so we've been talking with Universal Music about providing a soundtrack for us, but doing it like in a really like new kind of cool way, where I will go in and work with like upcoming bands and stuff that they have, and then we'll put together an album, a soundtrack based on that I'll then put into the film. We're at a point now where we have to prove that we can raise the money and raise the budget for them. The deal at the minute would be that we wouldn't pay for the soundtrack. They would just do it, but own all the rights to the soundtrack and everything like that. So then if they go and sell a ton of the soundtrack, we don't make any money off it. We also provide complete free advertisement through the film for these upcoming artists, right?
And you'll get the soundtrack.
Right, and we get the soundtrack, for not paying for it. But we need to prove that we can raise the money and make the budget. So that's why, again, we have to go in and show that so we're going to try and raise about 15 grand, something like that, just so we can go to them and say, look, we got this. And then probably in about October time, we're trying to go for a big one, and that'll be the big production campaign. But we'll lead up to it, 'cause it's going to be a lot of money.
I mean, right. If you make Shriekfest this year, will you show up? Or
well, here's the weird things. When I wanted to do this, I really wanted to go Shriekfest again, because I love Shriekfest. Like when we were there before, it's lovely. I love it. The problem we had was, because we're moving into feature filmmaking, we really need to start making some contacts, like agents, sales agents, stuff like that. The problem is Shriekfest doesn't provide that, but you do have another festival in your town that happens nearly exactly the same fucking time that does. They have a massive rivalry with Shriekfest, unfortunately. it's a case of like, look, I would love to play like Shriekfest, and I wanted to. Some of the people that put money into this outside of Kickstarter, that put money into this one, was like, look, if we're doing it, we got to go a little bit bigger, just because if the end game is meeting the right people to start making films properly for a living, make them contacts out in big Hollywood, as you would say, you got to go Screamfest for that, which I was kind of against at first, if I'm honest. I don't know. We'll see. We might not even get in. Apparently, it's really hard to get into Screamfest. Have you ever been?
I have not. It's usually money and time is usually what it is, because I would love to, because every time they announce it, I'm like, I look at a festival run pass and I'm like, who is this for? Like, it's not someone like me. I can't make that.
Right. See, this is the weird thing, right? Like, if you're, and this is the weird like fucking business you start getting into when you want to, like, again, right, this is very much like a career for me. Like, I want to make a career out of this. So if you just want to make films, get them in front of an audience and have fun, and then go back to your 9 to 5. The best festivals in the fucking world are stuff like Shriekfest, right? Because you come out to Shriekfest, you screen in front of a fucking amazing audience. Denise is fucking incredible, right? Like, she loves the shit out of everyone that fucking plays there. It's a great fucking event. But the problem is Shriekfest ends and that's it. You just played Shriekfest, it's not, there's no more there, but it's a great film festival. Screamfest is not really so much of a film festival anymore. What Screamfest is now is it's almost a sales market. You go there to meet agents, and that's why, again, on this, it was like, okay, if we're going to do it and we're going to go out to LA, what do we want to walk away with? Do we just want to walk away with a cool screening? Which, don't get me wrong, Screamfest would be fucking cool because it's in the Chinese theatre. I mean, you don't get much fucking cooler than that, right? What do you really want to walk away with? And for me and Chris, it was, okay, let's walk away with sales 8, just try and make some contacts, try and get some meetings, because that's the thing. If we come over to LA because of Screamfest, we're going to try and put together like screenings for other people as well, and like private screenings of the film and stuff like that, and just try and I have a idea for a Black Mass feature as well.
Okay.
I've said to Chris, we can't do that off of like Kickstarter or something, because it would be a couple of $1 million to do that feature. So that would be literally going to LA, setting up meetings with your Hollywood horror houses, seeing where you land, just seeing what they say, seeing what they would do. So to get in the door, to even get your fucking name fucking on the same sheet as some of them people, you have to go to like Screamfest and stuff like that. And I mean, it's unfortunate, right? Because I would love to just start Shriekfest. You've got to go to these places that have markets now and have got agents, and they want to, it's just a shitty side of the business in a way, but you got that. Yeah. You got that.
The business of the show, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
With Black Mass, clearly you don't want to like give things away. You told us a little bit about the creature and that it's about depression. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the story structure of the film at all, or is that like you can't really?
I can do it. No, it's fine. No, I can definitely do that. Yeah, Black Mass is basically centered around a father who he's the main driving force of depression. In fact, as in he's the one that's really suffering with depression. So the whole setup is the mother of the family has recently passed away. The dad is having real fucking trouble coping without her. And then you have the two adopted daughters who are trying to help their dad through and understand what their dad's going through. But underneath that, they too are other variations of depression, kind of variations I've thought about when I was going through it, variations of depression I've spoke to other people about the way they've handled depression. So it was this, it's this way of, and that's why I say darkness is the embodiment of depression for the family. It's kind of why the whole family can see him, because they're all going through depression. So the story opens up with the father, and he's trying to come to terms with the passing of his wife, and the girls see this, and they're trying their best to help him through this. Also deal with it in their way, right? Like get on with their lives in some way and deal with it in some way. Slowly we build up that the family is haunted by this, what is originally presented a demonic possession, darkness. As the girls individually start to see it, one of them sees it first, the other girl comes around, starts seeing it, and then you basically build up to this big climax where the family have to deal with their depression, deal with the presence that is haunting them and choices that have been made. Yeah, I won't go into it too much more than that.
All right, fair enough.
That's a nice little approach to it. But right I do think it's a nice little film. that will that I really hope will connect with a lot of people on a horror level, but also an emotional level as well. You know, something I've tried I've really tried drumming into everyone making this film from the get-go, from pre-production, especially in production and now in post-production, is that this film it's a horror film, but it isn't just about being scary. It isn't about being horrifying. It's emotional. It's sad. There's a lot in there that people have got to process. So yeah, I hope it hits, you know. But like I say, like we've got some amazing feedback on it. Well, I've got some amazing feedback from people I've sent it to, like my VFX guy and then sound designer and stuff like that. Your true test is when you get in front of an audience. That's when you see how it plays, you know.
There's nothing like just audience in general for whatever the art is, even a painting, because there's the feeling of the people around you, even if you're all silent, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And it's
just like live music to me is one of the most special things like on the planet, because even some stuff that I don't particularly care for, like at home or on a good sound system, like live, dude.
Oh yeah, it's a different story. Yeah, it's a different fucking story, man. Like, that's what I love about music festivals, because you get to experience shit you would never actually buy a ticket to go and see, right?
Exactly.
But then when you see it in that live context, you're like, oh, fuck.
I'll tell you who surprised the hell out of me like that. There's a station out here called K-Rock, the world-famous K-Rock.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a thing called the Weenie Roast every year.
Right.
And a couple years ago, my girlfriend actually managed to land some tickets.
Oh, nice.
And it happened to be this weird little melding of a place and time that allowed me to have one of the most strangely perfect concerts of my life and learn all kinds of shit, because I was running a movie and music department at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of the bands that were there had albums that were out at the time. And as the person who ran the department, I was allowed to control the music.
Oh,
so
nice.
I got to have a playlist of everything that I was going to go and see.
Yeah.
Almost all of it, the entirety of their albums, for about a month before it happened. So like I went in and like it was like that Lucas Graham guy. Do you remember a couple of years ago? He had like that song 7 Years, like Once I Was 7 Years Old, and my father.
Yeah.
That is like, I like that song. That is the worst song on that album. I'm not talking shit about the song, but like it's way down here on that album.
Yeah.
And so getting to see it live and see people's reaction to hearing music that was happy from that guy was like really interesting. But Weezer, more than anybody in my life, blew me away. And because on radio, on record, I'm like, oh, Weezer, cool.
Yeah.
But that bass is life-altering live. Like that low-end bass, bro.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Just live, it doesn't even... Yeah, you can't capture that, man. You can't capture that on a record or on a... There's something about just being around people and experiencing that together and just enjoying that together. And like all the shit goes out the window, right? Like you're all the same. You're just all fucking music fans or film fans, or, you know, no one's any fucking different in a movie theater or a fucking rock gig or whatever it is, right? You're all the fucking same. You're all there to enjoy whatever that fucking ticket is you've purchased. Man, like there's something special in that. There's something special. All that bullshit just goes out the window and you're just all fucking enjoying that together. It's a fucking special thing, man. It's the beauty of art. It's the beauty of art. Like you said, like even in a fucking gallery, no one's saying anything. You just all fucking stand there looking at this painting on the wall. It beats the shit out of looking at it on your computer or looking at it on your phone, right? And it's because you are around other people that are admiring it too, you know? I always get this thing where you're like, oh, people do give a shit as much as I do. People do care about this stuff as much as I do. People do think about this stuff as much as I do. Like, and that's a nice, in the, you know, the outside world, you might all be fucking outcasts and reject. Here, you're all the fucking same, man. Like, you're all part of it.
Like at Shriekfest, because it was like, I get that I'm like a crazy art nerd and like I like weird stuff, but it's rare to meet people that you're not just on the same level as, but both of you in that conversation probably have something the other one hasn't seen and would like.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I love. Like Shriekfest was probably my single greatest festival experience, just like purely for that reason. Like it had nothing to do with Echoes of the Past screening, right? Like it was a great fucking screening. Like Echoes, like it was a really nice screening because it was our world premiere there, and like I had done a cast and crew screening, but I hadn't screened it to a fucking.
And it's a nice room to screen in too.
It's a fucking really nice room to screen in, man. Really, really nice room to screen. And, you know, Denise was talking the shit out of the film like beforehand anyway. People being very vocal about seeing it, being excited about seeing it on like Twitter and stuff. You know, Shriekfest done a fucking hell of a job like promoting the shit out of our screening for us. Yeah, man, it was a great fucking screening. But it was coming out of that screening, man. It was like coming out of that screening and just talking fucking film with you for ages and then talking film with other people for ages. Just coming away and seeing, when I got reactions to the film, it weren't even so much like reactions as in like it was just a good or bad film. It was reactions in like what stuff in the film meant and what stuff like, and what people fucking really got, like what spoke to them, what worked, what really worked for them on like personal. I coming out of it, I got like that night I was in my, you know, fucking shitty little fucking motel thing up in West Hollywood. And I got a notification on my phone about an article that had Echoes of the Past in it on Dread Central, I think it was. And Brooke Lewis, who was at that fest, and she screened one of her films in the same block.
Yeah. That one was fun too.
She went on Dread Central saying about like her favourite films of Shriekfest, and like she fucking brought up Echoes of the Past, and she was like talking the shit out of it and saying just about how it was just refreshing to this haunted house film that was just like fucking different and just didn't like play into typical ghost story. What was nice about that is like I only ever want like 2 reactions to my films, and I tend to get them as well. Like one is you either fucking hate it or like you really dig it, right? Because like that middle ground, right? You lose people in that middle ground.
Nothing's worse than a perfect.
If you like come out the middle ground and people are like, yeah, it was all right, like you forget about it straight away. Like you completely forget about it. But if you come out and you're like, oh no, fucking like I just didn't get it. You still think about it because you think about like, why didn't I get it? Right. I try not to think like any film is really bad. Like I just think like you either get what the filmmakers were going, most of the time anyway, you either get what the filmmakers were going for and it connected with you or it didn't. Right. So to like see, and you know, I've had people that didn't connect with Echoes of the Past, and that's absolutely fine too. Like I love that opinion because you learn from it, right? You always learn from it. Same with Silently, same with everything I've ever done. You should learn from it. You should take that and learn from it. I don't really hate on anyone. Like as long as people are not being offensive and like talking shit about like the actors in the film or like just saying horrible, mean things. If you're literally giving some really nice creative feedback and like, look, I didn't like it and this is why it didn't work for me and this way, that's cool, man. I'm good with that. Like it's good. Like film's subjective. There's films out there that people love that I just don't get. So it's fine. Bro,
it's like
I'm good with that.
When it comes to what we're talking about right now, I do not understand the love of The Conjuring. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
It's an expertly made film. Like I love the way, like everything about it. It's just when it like I mean like the color palette, the camera work, the performances. Like I like all the people in it and everything. Yeah. It was so universally lauded as this terrifying film, and I wasn't scared at all.
No, right. I'm with you on that. It didn't scare me. But like I said, I don't really, even with horror films, I don't go into be, I mean, it sounds weird, right? But I don't go in to be scared. I go in to like explore a dark version of the world, right? Or a dark
it was idea. There where I was like, yeah, I guess that's the view that I took
so
away.
That's like, that's my thing. That's my thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I like The Conjuring. I think there's some great stuff in The Conjuring. I really do. Like the editing and the jump scares and that I was saying about earlier. I think James Wan does some really good stuff. It's not a film like I absolutely love. I don't think it's like the masterpiece it was fucking made out to be. But it is a very it's a very good film. But again, like if people don't like anything, not just that, like anything, as long as you can have like a half intelligent conversation about it rather than just just like it's fucking
so
shit.
Frustrating, dude. When I was running the music and movie department and I would try to help people find new stuff. I was like, well, what did you like about that movie? Like, oh, it was really good. I'm like, right, what did you like?
What did you like?
It was good. All right, well, tell me what you don't like. That one. Okay, what don't you like about it? It's just dumb. What was dumb about it? Just the movie.
Yeah, I know. Like that gets me. Like, and again, that's what I don't like. Like when your criticism is that.
Exactly.
That serves no purpose
at all.
But yeah, I'm with that, man. But if you can give like good feedback, that's great. When I say good feedback, it doesn't mean you have to like the film. Just good feedback.
Yeah.
Creative feedback.
Feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Most definitely.
I'm good with that.
What would you categorize as say the craziest film you've ever seen? Whatever that means to you.
Yeah. What does crazy mean? That's a good question.
Well, okay, so like, for instance, to me, I found Gaspar Noé's Climax to be a pretty crazy movie. I wouldn't call it the craziest thing I've ever seen, but I would go crazy on that movie.
Right, well, fucking, you have, on that fucking note, Irreversible.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it yet, and I know I need to.
Right, like, on that, man, on Irreversible, it is fucking insane. Like, yeah, I don't know, I don't want to say too much because, like you said, you haven't seen it, but...
Well, I am actually, unfortunately, well familiar with what it is.
Any of Casper's films, any of them, they are head trips to the highest fucking level, man. What was the one he done?
You mean Enter the Void? The one about DMT?
Enter the Void, wasn't it? It was Enter the Void, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That is... Cool. What can you say about that? That was a film that you watch, or I watched, and it finishes, and you sit there for 15 minutes in silence, and you're like, I don't know if I liked it. I don't know if I hated it. I am not really sure what the fuck I like. But it's like this thing where you start breaking it down in your mind, and you're like, well, okay, I kind of like this. But that was weird. That was a bit, I don't know. It's just like, it's so, but then I also get to this point where I'm questioning it so much that I end up fucking loving it. Because I'm like, this is literally art. Because this is making me, this is going beyond just watching a film and turning it off, or it finishes, sorry, and you turn it off and you take the disc out, or you turn Netflix off, or whatever it is, right? And you go and do something else. You go and watch videos on YouTube, or you go and put on another film, whatever. Into the Void was like fucking art to me, where I just sit there and I don't do anything. I just think.
Okay.
And then like for a day afterwards, I just thought about that film. Again, you're like, I don't know if I love or hate it, but there's something really fucking beautiful in that. There's something really fucking crazy in that, right? That it's like, I kind of forgot that film can make me question the art form in that way.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, man.
I want to see that in a theater, and you know, luckily living in LA, like it plays occasionally.
Yeah.
Like I own Gone with the Wind, but I haven't seen it because I'm waiting to watch all the special features.
Oh, really?
Theater.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Same with Ben Hur.
You might be the only American that's never watched Gone with the Wind. I thought like growing up, that was like a thing you had to do in America. I thought like if you don't watch Gone with the Wind, like
all right, your opinion of me is about to drop a bit. I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Do you know what? Oddly, Gone with the Wind shocks me. And personally, they're both very good films. Personally, they're not like up there with my favorites. I mean, if you're talking that generation, if you tell me you've never watched Casablanca.
Oh no, I've actually seen that in the theater, thankfully.
Right, I was gonna say, then we've got a conversation on that.
then we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of, if not the most perfect film ever made. I love that film.
Well, when it comes to him, I'll take the have and have not over that.
Really?
Personally.
I don't know, man. Casablanca does something to me.
Well, see, okay, so and this leads a little bit into my, what I want to recommend is, on the subject of Kubrick, I'm not saying this is his best film, but my favorite Kubrick film is The Killing. Have you seen this?
When did he make, I want to say yes. When did he make it?
This one's
It was like really fucking early, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Very.
Yeah, like super fucking early. Yeah, I believe I have.
Well, I mean, I don't know how well you can see the image, but you can see the mask there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it was a huge influence on that specifically, you know, with The Dark Knight. Tarantino says you don't get Reservoir Dogs without this specific film. Tarantino's fractured editing for his entire career comes straight out of this movie. But where Pulp Fiction lets you figure it out, this movie's a little more in your face about exactly what's happening with it.
Right, okay. Do you know what, actually? I'm going to say I haven't. Seen it. I thought... It's
a big old bunch of crooks coming together for a heist.
I'm going to say I haven't. I definitely know of it. I don't know why I haven't seen it. See, we don't get a lot of that Criterion stuff like you do. We've just started getting Criterion stuff over here.
Wait, so they don't have like a UK branch?
They didn't for a long time. We're now getting stuff. but we haven't got like nowhere near the fucking volume you guys have. Nowhere
I can't afford them most of the time. You know?
Oh, I know, they're so fucking expensive. I mean, that's my other problem with them, man. Like, we've got a lot of good stuff over here. When you just weigh up like that version compared to this fucking madness. We've got like the criterions that are coming out over here now are like, you heard of HMV?
Yeah. Whenever I flip through Empire, I'm like, how dare you have movies this cheap?
Right. So HMV have got like Criterion stuff in now, man. So you see how much Blu-rays and that are in there, right? Cheap. You can get like 3 for 20. Really good deals on some of them, like buy one get one free on a lot of them, stuff like that. But Criterion stuff is £40 each.
Okay, it's the same. Yeah, these
and you're just like
$40 discs. Yeah,
right. Are you fucking kidding me? I can literally get 6 films.
That's the problem. But see, here
right?
with me, like they're 100% worth the price.
Yeah, they are.
I've never paid full price for a single one. I get them on sale. The closest I got was right after Bowie died. I picked up Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, because it had gone out of print. Shortly thereafter, they reprinted it. But that wasn't why. I didn't buy it because it went out of print. I bought it because I finally was like, I guess now I need to see this. And if you've never seen that, that's a fascinating film. Have you?
No, I haven't. The Bowie one.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. Okay, so it's about a Japanese POW camp, and it's mostly English and Dutch prisoners. Right. And there's an English guy that's essentially like the go-between between the prisoners and the guy at the prison who's the go-between between the prison and the prisoners. And that guy is the lead from Battle Royale, the teacher guy, the older guy.
Oh, right, okay.
And he looks exactly the same. 40 years ago, exactly the same.
Really?
Into this situation walks David Bowie. And he is the cool kid at school that everybody loves, but is always getting in trouble.
Right, okay.
And that's all I can say.
Oh, wow. So he's quite young then?
Yes.
Bowie's quite young.
It's in my storage unit downstairs, or I would just shove it in your face. Yeah. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, man. Look it up.
Well, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's really culturally fascinating too, because like at one point the English guy's having a conversation with the Battle Royale guy. The Battle Royale guy's looking at him like with this like dog-like curiosity. He's I would respect you so much more if you killed yourself. And the British guy's like, well, you see capture as this great dishonor, and we kind of see it as a bit of bad luck. Right. And there's a lot of like cultural interplay.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I really like that. That's very good stuff. Big fan.
Cool, man.
There was no real good cut point to segue into the fact that we're talking about Facebook here. So
my brother will routinely go, you got to check Facebook. Everybody's saying happy birthday on there. Then they would realize I haven't been there.
Right. Exactly. Right. Like that is my biggest thing about it. My biggest thing about it is when I don't know, like let's say there's a social event or like something's happening. I don't know, you weren't invited or you didn't know or anything like that. And then, oh, okay, I didn't even know that. It's like, oh, it's because you're not on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, so like we've fucking got to this point where there is no like friendship anymore, where the point where you actually reach out to someone, it's literally got to the point where it's so simple that we just tap a button to let people know shit. And if you don't catch that news cycle or that invitation or whatever it is, then you're out of the loop. Yeah. Like that's where friendship and human interaction fucking got to. Yeah, but that is something I am touching on. My debut features all about human connection and the importance of human connection. It's like a post-apocalyptic thing. But the idea is if our almost fully digital fucking world lost all of that,
okay,
what is the human reaction to that? It's a very like broken down, minimalist fucking look at that. It's not like on a large scale. It's just like a story of 2 characters, right? But yeah, it's that. The idea is that it's a post-apocalyptic world. You got 2 strangers. Their only form of communication is 2 battery operated like army grade radio mics that they find, and they're dying because they're battery operated, so they need to decide on a location where they're going to meet and get there before they fucking die. And it's about that. What's important? Why are they trying to get together? It's because it's the human emotion thing. And also the dying radio mics are this kind of symbolization of the dying human interaction we have and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot fucking in there. It's actually a very deep. There's a lot of shit in it, man. But it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. It's got like some monsters in it, some new monsters. It's like a play on a zombie thing, but it's more like not aliens or zombies, but it's like a monster thing in between, you know.
Okay,
it's
a cool very thing. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of like religious shit in there as well.
Like I said, I was raised incredibly religious, like Catholic, and like I am glad that certain things about me, like I have such a problem lying about almost everything in almost every situation.
Because of, yeah.
While in certain situations that might be a bad thing, in almost every situation,
It's a good thing.
It's not just best, it's just what I am.
It's, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so like certain people find me brash, and it's like, no, I'm honest. I'm sorry.
No, it's honest. Yeah, it's honest. Yeah, exactly.
But
no, it's good, man.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of like good to come from religion, right? But it's because my idea of it is it's a book of moral stories of lead your life like this, because if you don't, you'll fucking end up like this character that fucking died. But anyway, but like my feature, I've always liked the idea of like just playing around with them stories, and I wouldn't directly fucking reference it and quote it because I would be fucking murdered. But like I play loose with it. So it's kind of like I play with the idea of the monsters are called the Forsaken. So they're like, it's this idea of if there was this divine being and it was like, no, look, you fucked up, you lost everything that was fucking human about you. You turned into, right, I've had enough, right? So I'm going to spread this fucking plague, whatever that is, if it's like Mother Nature, divine being, whatever it is, I'm going to spread this plague. That's what these Forsaken people become. They were human, but then they turn into these horrible, grotesque monsters that, again, like, it's a bit like the zombie thing, but it's not like a virus thing. It's like it is, but like it's a plague. And then it's like the ending I want to play about with like a rapture type, fucking end of world type fucking deal, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's just like, it's a story, man.
You know, that was Kevin Smith's original ending for Red State.
For Red State, yeah. Yeah, he does do a little something like that, doesn't he? In Red State, but
a little, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's where I want to go with it. I kind of want to go like, not where I cut to fucking what's his name, John Goodman in the fucking police station, like telling the story. It won't be that. I won't cut to someone.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I really want to play about with like the ending as just in. I almost want to like make it like this game thing, so where like it gets to the end, I'm thinking about like playing about with the trumpets thing, like Kevin Smith does, but instead of it coming from like the cult, it is just fucking coming, like where the fuck is that coming from? But I also want to play about with it where if we end the film on that, it could be this idea of, is that this divine being Mother Nature going, no, right, it's fucking done now, like it's done, end of fucking, or is that because the characters come together, found that human connection that was once lost, them trumpets now
trumpeting like the
right, it's like it's the end, right? You done it, you actually fucking worked out, yes, this is what you were meant to fucking do. Now go forth and fucking start over. So yeah, I like the idea of like playing about it. But it was all born out of like this. It was genuinely born out of the fucking my hatred for that Facebook argument. It was literally that. It's like, well, if we fucking lost all that, what would fucking happen? And then like obviously the Forsaken, you know, these fucking horrible, grotesque creatures that these mindless fucking zombies you get on the internet now that just follow fucking whatever with it. You know, it's crazy. Just I don't know. It's weird, no man. Just like all these fucking lies you see on the internet and people just randomly follow it. They're like, oh yeah, it's true. Like, do a bit of fucking research, man. Like, that's not true. Not true. I fucking God knows what it's like for you out in America at the minute. But to be honest, mate, yeah.
Dude.
Mate, it's not much better over here.
Well, it's like pretty much my favorite musical group is this duo from Detroit called Twisted. They used to be with Insane Clown Posse, but they're on their own now. If you have any love for hip hop, and I know you love horror, you should check them out because that's what they are. They're horror.
Yeah, I actually don't mind. I like older hip hop where it was actually about something rather than
Off their latest album, they have a song all about how like the refrain is, all our role models are going down in infamy. Who the fuck do we follow now? You know what? Fuck them all.
Oh, that's quite good. I quite like that.
So,
that's quite cool. Yeah, it's just, man, it's just this idea like this. People just spreading. Like, that's the thing that gets me about Trump, right? Is if you support him or not, if you love him or hate him, right? That if you're a Republican or you're not, or if you support Trump or not, that part's irrelevant, right? That doesn't matter. Here's the thing that gets me. Here's the thing that, like, I don't understand. Half of the shit he says is a lie. Like, it's a lie. It's just a straight lie. It doesn't matter which side of the political party you're on or who you support or not. What he is feeding you are lies. And it doesn't take a lot of work to realise they're like all you have to do is do a bit of your own research and go, oh, okay, is what he's saying true? And you will very clearly see it is not. Even to the point, right, where
I think what you're seeing is the problem is that most people aren't willing to put in any work.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the problem. It's almost right. It's almost this fucking genius move where he come up with the term fake news, because he's just done this thing where anyone that says anything that he doesn't want his supporters to believe, he just goes, It's fake news. When the reality is what he says is fake news. But I tell you what, right? It's this very interesting when you take out the actual horror fucking like side, especially for you, it affects your life. When you take that out of it and you actually just look at it as a social experiment, it's this very interesting thing of when you're in a certain position of power and you have followers that just want to follow. That's all they want. They just want to follow something. They just want to be a part of something. It's a very interesting social experiment that you can say whatever the fuck you want and people believe it. And that, in a weird way, becomes the truth, right? Because have you heard the old saying, like, if enough people believe it, it's true?
Well, yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So, like, there's, like, that is his concept.
And it's like and now, you know, and it's really unfortunate that it was immediately after he coined this fake news term where we're getting all this technology that essentially anything can be faked. I mean, I don't know how much you follow or what you've heard, but basically they took a video of one of his opponents and slowed it down so it appeared that she was having like some sort of a mental issue. Yeah. Then you see the real video and it's just fine.
Yeah, but they've been doing that with loads of stuff. But then that's like,
did you hear about the Joe Rogan thing though? The Joe Rogan AI experiment?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Did you listen to it? It's terrifying. Real.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's fucking terrifying. I really like watching a lot of that Joe Rogan stuff. I think Joe Rogan's a really good. He gets a lot of shit for like right wing people being on his show, but the thing I like about Joe Rogan is it's just an open platform.
Yeah,
that's what I like. It's
actually,
why I've been a fan since like almost actually so down the fucking middle because he's like, look, you come on, talk about what you want to talk about, and we'll talk it out. Hey, if you actually listen to the fucking podcast. He's not right wing. He actually disagrees with a lot of right wing shit.
I mean, he had Alex Jones on recently. The recent one,
mate,
you know?
that is maybe my favorite podcast of all time. That Alex Jones podcast. The fucking bit, right? Did you listen to it all? Right. If you haven't, there's just.
I did listen to it. I just don't remember if I listened to it from front to back.
There is just one. If you haven't heard this bit, which I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, there is just one bit you have got to go and fucking find on YouTube.
Okay.
Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo arguing about flat Earth.
No, I heard. I think that's and I got distracted at work. Oh yeah. I gotta watch it.
It is the funniest fucking thing. Right, I'm gonna send you. They done an animated version.
Oh yeah, I know.
An animated version of it. Dude, fucking go and find it. It is the funniest fucking shit in the world, right? Fucking Eddie Bravo talking about fucking flat Earth is one of the most amazing fucking things.
Well, Eddie Bravo going off the rails about almost any subject is one of the most entertaining things.
Do you know anyone talking about flat Earth? Fucking why? Like, why do you have to, like?
Because if you say something like, all right, then go to the edge and fall off. Like, show me.
But it's like when they're like, there's just no ever, like when it's like, why do you believe in it? Like, so the other week, Joe Rogan has someone drop out. So Eddie Bravo, like, filled in. Mm-hmm. And there's just a bit, like, halfway through where they start talking about it again. And Joe Rogan just gets so pissed off with it. Because, like, Eddie, why the fuck do you believe this shit? Like, I just don't get it. I just don't, like, and he's like, well, dude, it's because, like, I've seen enough evidence pointing towards it, and I haven't seen enough evidence that and I'm like, you haven't? Because there is no evidence that it's fucking flat, and there's loads of evidence that it's round. Like, loads. Like, I don't understand. Like, this is my thing, right? Why would they be lying? Why would the whole world, every government in the world, every scientific body in the world, why would they all lie that the Earth is right? Like, what do they gain?
Control you, man.
So fucking, how does that control you? How does that control you?
No idea.
How does that control you? Nothing of that fucking, and like oh my God, like their fucking arguments about like gravity and just, it just boggles my fucking mind. It's like fucking some dude, right, in England fucking sussed gravity out hundreds of years ago. Why is this debate still fucking going on? We don't need this debate anymore.